Where? All right, so I guess that's the cue for us to get started. So I'll begin by saying good evening, everyone. I'll be your host today. I'm your brother Tonko, and we have a very, very, very special presentation by our sister Petronella today. She's gonna walk us through her argument for gender inequality in Cameroon. And so, as you know, there are some people who, there are some of us who may not necessarily agree with that, and some who do agree. So this will be more of a debate more than a presentation. And so generally, we're just gonna start out with our sister Petronella. She's gonna walk us through her argument, her presentation, her case for gender inequality in Cameroon. And then that's gonna be followed by our brother Mba Monte. Excuse me for not, I was gonna pronounce your name, but I don't know. I don't want to mess it up. So Brother Monte, he's gonna give us the counter argument. And then after that, we're gonna open it up for questions and comments from the floor for people, stating their experience and their opinion. So with no further hesitation, Sister Petronella, the floor is yours. I want to welcome you to this Sunday, and the floor is all yours. I'm gonna mute myself. And you may begin, please.
Hello, good evening to everyone. I'm Petronella Sobenyonge, all the way from Spain. Based on the argument we had on the chat last from some couples of days back, it was very interesting. So I had to propose the idea of the topic. So
and you were breaking up just a little bit.
I'm going to start by defining the term gender inequality. I'm going to apologize because the network here in Spain is very bad. Sometimes you guys are going to get me clearly, and after maybe some 1 or 2. So gender inequality is an act of treating someone unfairly based on their gender. Cameroon for decades now have been fighting gender inequality. Since as in the year 2014, the gender inequality index was at 0.578, and Cameroon was ranked 132 out of 188, making it one of the highest. Gender inequality as an aspect of human rights. CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which was adopted by the United Nations in the year 1979, and later became a treaty in the year 1981. After a series of sensitizations by feminist movements, it extended to most African countries, especially those represented in the United Nations. And Cameroon, as a member of the United Nations, signed this treaty in the year 1994. And since then, Cameroon has been struggling to eradicate gender inequality till this present moment. So the question I have for us tonight is if gender inequality really exists in Cameroon, because I was surprised when someone asked in the group, when someone mentioned that there wasn't any gender inequality in Cameroon. So, and if anyone thinks that gender inequality doesn't exist in Cameroon, then he or she needs to give us an explanation and why he is on the fact that, why he's on the opinion that gender inequality doesn't exist in Cameroon. And if some of us who think that gender inequality exists in Cameroon, we need to give our points and our facts. So I think the debate is open.
Sister Petronella, let me ask you this for my understanding and for the understanding of other people who are watching. Can you give us some examples where women are treated unequal in Cameroon, or where the gender inequality exists? just a few examples of, from your experience, where are women not treated equally?
Okay. Okay. In the Cameroonian context, there are a lot of examples where women are truly discriminated upon, beginning from the educational sector, down to the employment sector, down to the agricultural sector. Okay, let me start with the agricultural sector. The agricultural sector is the most important part of Cameroon because it occupies 20% of the Cameroonian gross domestic product. Now, in the agricultural sector, that's where we have the highest percentage of gender division of roles. In the like, for example, where I was raised when I was a kid, women were and are still limited to certain crops production. That's they are limited to producing crops that are meant for home consumption only. Why the men? Because of the cultural preference for male child in my community, men are permitted to cultivate the crops meant for commercial purposes. When it comes to fishing, when it comes to breeding animals, women were limited to domestic animals still for consumption, while men do the breed. I don't know how to describe it. Animals with high monetary value. Let me put it that way, with high monetary value. Now, when it comes to the educational sector, if we look at the Cameroonian the percent, in some cases, you discover that at the beginning of the academic year, girls are of higher percentage than boys. But by the time the term is getting to an end, the reverse is true, because some have dropped out of school because of financial situations. Some got pregnant, some were forced into marriages without their consent, and some other personal reasons based on the family and the individual. Now, I mentioned 3 points. Education. Employment sector, sorry. Talking about the employment sector, just like the educational sector, which is stated that the higher the academic ladder, the lower female you see female genders in class. It's the same with the employment sector. The higher the top positions, the lower the amount of female participation in Cameroon. So I think from the examples I've cited, some people can understand and they can see. If we look at the political situation in Cameroon, we see that a lot of sensitization has been going on, even by the government and by some leading political parties, to involve more women in politics. That's why today, even in the national TV, we see women protesting, trying to take the lead, because it's something that has been going on, and since Cameroon is struggling to eradicate this issue of gender discrimination, so the government is really struggling to see that women get their place. And let me say that the Cameroonian constitution states that women has 30% representative in government positions, and also in private sectors, in companies and everything. But when it comes to politics in Cameroon, Cameroonian women have never reached the 30% quota that was given to them. I think the highest percentage that it is now, it is 27 point, which is improving as compared to before. So it's a call for concern. I think for the few examples I've cited, I think others can then go on.
Thank you. No, that was very detailed, and thank you a lot for that. So we have 2 hands that are raised. First, Mama Gassam, her hand was first. Please, Mama, the floor is all yours to add your comment or question.
Thank you so much, Justin. Petronella, thank you for the detail that you're giving. You touch only actually on some of the things that I wanted to add before Justin asked you the question. To me, we don't even have to go Cameroon to begin with. It's a patriarchy society. It goes back to the very core of what colonization did to us, what religion, because with colonization, we go into religion. Religion was used to really suppress. And if you're a good little wife, if you're a good little woman, the Bible say, according to the dogma that we're all indoctrinated with, men are the head and women follow. So it's a patriarchy society in every aspect. We don't go branding that in family. For example, a girl, from the moment you're born as a girl, you are groomed. You are everything. Scream, you are a girl. You're supposed to take a second place. In some family, if you ask some women, Cameroonian women and girls, they will say, no, nobody have ever said, but it's unstated the rule that you have to be a girl. I remember hearing this. If a female is, if you're, what do you call it? If you're proactive, if you're passionate about anything, if you speak out, literally, parents, relative, friends, they would tell you a lot of the time, these are coming from other women around you. You have to act like a girl, like a woman. You have to be a woman. Don't act like that. Nobody gonna want to marry you. Even if you find a guy who want to marry you, his family will tell him not to marry you. So girl, you are literally, it's not said, because somebody can go in a company and say, well, you see all these women doing this, you see all these women doing that. But the salary, even the salary, as far as the salary is concerned, the salary of women, we have that here in this society. If we have that here, inequality in salary, let alone in Cameroon. So it's part of the fabric of the society in Cameroon, because it's a patriarchy society. Women are not even encouraged to take the lead in doing anything, because the value of a woman in the society is attached to who she is as the wife of somebody, or prior to that, the daughter. You have to carry the family name. You have to act, the dissociate respect and being assertive. The word I was looking for is assertive. Women are not encouraged at all. They're totally discouraged to being assertive. If you're an assertive woman, or if you're a child who is outspoken, they would deter you. They do that for both male and female, but more so for girl. Even if you go to school with your classmate, and if you speak up, they're going to laugh at you. Even the teacher laugh at you, mock you. Oh, you think you know better? Everybody, the teacher would, I was subjected to a lot. The teacher would just overpass you, even if you know the answer. They don't even want to call on you. They just, I don't know. I've lived more outside Cameroon than in Cameroon, but the little experience in my early days is not very, I don't know if it has changed. And also, to me, the woman's worth being attached to the name, to her being married. When a girl, I think Petronella mentioned that, the percentage of students, you may see more girls, but as you go higher in grade, it drops, because the family knows that the girl gonna lose, she's gonna go somewhere else. She's gonna go to another family. So it's not the father, sometimes the family don't feel too responsible after a certain time. They just give you the basic. They just expect you to have the basic, because you're gonna be somebody else's burden. They literally say that. You're gonna become somebody else's burden. And so the effort to put into girls to have higher education is not really, some would have it, some are fortunate to have it, but the majority, the average, would not, because even the girl herself, even the female, they're saying, oh, I wish I could marry a rich man. I wish I could. And this mentality is there. Even though, I mean, in hindsight, I'm like, I play into a lot of these things. And it's so sad because as a young girl, you don't know your self-worth. You don't think, because your mother is telling you this, you want to, if you say something, they're going to tell you, hey, listen, you think you're going to come and change the world? This is how it is. You cannot, and you're going to find yourself alone, ostracized, and you have to play the ball because you're a girl. You know, it is something very, it's there, but at the same time, it's not there. You have to be victim. You have to actually experience it to see that, oh, it is there. And sometimes you even ask the same people, these women, you're going to ask somebody, she's going to say, oh, I'm not oppressed. Oh, I don't, but it is there. It is all around you. So in summary, we don't even have to go so far. Within the family, girls are raised to be girls, to act like girls, and to be proper in the way they do things so they can find husband, because that's the priority. The priority for a girl is to find a husband. If you have a husband, if you're married, you have achieved in the eyes of the society in Cameroon. You have achieved because you're married. Your education, it doesn't matter how many degrees. You may have all the degrees in the world, but if you're not married, your parents gonna always, your family, people around you gonna hold that against you. And so when the girl is groomed from birth to think that way, she doesn't have that high esteem of who she is as a human being, and consequently, she affront the world, and her approach to anything in life is very limited. Some have the good fortune to break free from that, but you know, it's like 50-50. Some would always, it would always be in the back of your mind, oh, you don't want to disappoint. You want to put your career on hold. You don't want to have high expectation of things. You just want to focus on getting a husband. And so that's why I say I didn't want to miss this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Gassan. Thank you. So far, we've heard from two powerful queens, giving us their personal experience and personal perspective for arguing that, yes, Cameroon is a male-dominated society and that women are suppressed in many ways. So I thank you both so far. It's an interesting discussion so far. I have one more hand raised, but then after that, I want to get over to Monte so he can give his counter argument, which I know we're all eager to hear as well. So Felicite, the floor is yours. And then next, we're going over to our brother Monte, who's going to give us his perspective.
Okay, thank you, Justin, for giving me the floor. It's already 12 here in Yaoundé. It's kind of very late for me, but I told myself I'm not going to miss this. That's why I'm up. I'm not going to be long because I need to go to bed because I should be up early tomorrow. So before emphasizing on what Petronella and Mamangasa said, I wanted to correct something that Petronella mentioned. The 30% of women participation is not stated in the Constitution, but in the National Gender Policy. So it's a policy, it's not in the Constitution. So concerning the agriculture sector, we should know that in Cameroon, women are exploiting land, but they don't really possess land. So when it comes to having a loan, they cannot really have, because most bankers are always requiring a guarantee, and the one of the most important guarantee is the land certificate that you have. And in Cameroon, we have been fighting for that for quite a long time, carried out advocacy, and the government is working on it for some times now to see how they can address that issue. And concerning the education, especially today with the COVID-19, we will see that when it comes to choice to send a girl or a boy to school, when there is limited resources, they will always choose the boy, because as we commonly say, the boy is the one who will stay in the family, and the girl is supposed to go to another family. So there is no necessary to invest on her. I was recently in the far north of Cameroon, and the far north Adamawa and east, and it's really common in that region. It's true that in the west, center and littoral, the phenomenon is it's less important than in those other region. So, and I followed what the princess from Batu Farm said the other day, and in some point I can understand, because most of the time we don't really see what is going on because of our privilege. When you have privilege, you can understand what others are facing in the other side. So I think that's probably why she was saying that there is no gender inequality in Cameroon. She got the chance to go to school. She has never, because we are in a society where when you don't behave like a girl or like a woman, you are always judged, you are always blamed. And like Mama Gassam said, you are not good enough if you have all the degrees. Your first degree is to have a husband. If you don't succeed to have a husband, you have failed. And also in Africa, the femininity is related to giving birth. If you don't give birth, you have failed as well. So having all the degrees doesn't really count. And when it comes to infertility, for instance, in Africa, we always blame women, and and that's why we don't really address the issue, because for those who are scientists, they will tell you that the men infertility is more irreversible than the woman one. But when in a couple there is no child, it's always the woman to be blamed. So that's some point that I wanted to raise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for my English, because my language, my work language is French. So thank you.
Dear, you're doing perfectly fine. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mangasam.
And Queen Felicite, your English is perfect, and I just want to thank you again for sharing your interesting and your personal perspective on this topic. So Brother Monte and Monte, we just heard from 3 queens who spent significant amount of time in Cameroon, in this society, and all 3 just stated that it is in fact a male-dominated society, and they're speaking from their heart and they're speaking from their perspective. I'm going to open up the floor to you, because I know you have a different perspective, and I think that we're all going to listen and pay attention and hear your perspective as well, because we know it's valuable as well. So the floor is yours, Monte. Feel free.
Donc, ça, c'est là où pour moi, quoi, peut fousser capsuler que voilà. Okay. So just great. I just send you some greetings and ask that may your ancestors cover you and protect you all the time. Thanks for allowing me, to participate to this debate. Very interesting debate. I think this is the only way we can, understand each other, because they always say, let even your enemies talk, so you can hear what they have to say, or and then you will go from there. All right. So thank you very much for, for the queen who spoke about their perspective when it comes to the inequality. And because it is a topic that it's not the first time that I part of one of the discussion. So I'm going to go ahead. And what I'm talking, I think I have something to share. I'm sure everybody's looking at the whether computer or phone, because I'll be sharing a presentation, a quick presentation. Just picture speaks louder than anything else. Now, before I do that, I would like to jump right away on a few things that has been said, right, and address them right away before I forget. Okay, the sister who spoke just recently, Sister
Felicite.
Felicite.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So you say something right there. I would like to jump on it first, right? You say, in Cameroon or in Africa in general, for a woman, if you don't give birth, you fail. Well, my first argument is going to be that right there. Just to tell you that in Africa, through our history, through our ancient history, we have many evidences that prove that our ancestors have put system in place to answer that. And one of the systems that was put in place was polygamy, where some women who cannot have children, okay, because maybe about the problem, they will seek a polygamic man who does it, because in that polygamy system, she will be called mother. I know two of them. They are in a polygamy house and they cannot have children, but the children of other women are calling her mother. As a matter of fact, all the children in that concession, in that house, call all the women mothers. So there's no difference. And one of her actually breastfed the baby from another woman because she has time to do it. So it is not it's an issue that our ancestors actually thought of and put some system in place to address. Now, am I saying that some ignorant thing like that? No, because you have ignorant people everywhere, even here in America, right? People think some stupid stuff. So yeah, that's number one. Number two, I like that when
Brother Chakunte, I wanted to jump into in again and say, I'm talking about blaming women. It's easy in our context, exactly, for a man to marry others women, but a woman who is giving birth, who is married to someone who is not able to give birth, will be very difficult for her to go and see another man to have children, because the society will be blaming her because of what she did. But if it's a man, that's correct. It's normal. They don't blame men who go and see. Yeah, they don't blame men. But women, you cannot be. I have a friend at this time that I'm talking. Her husband cannot fertilize her, but she's too afraid to go and see because the man is the problem. But in Africa, we don't really spoke about men infertility. We always, because infertility, for those who are doing medicine, is a couple problem. It's not a woman problem, but a couple problem. But the way we perceive it, it's always woman who is the cause. And that's why sometimes we don't find a solution, because we are putting all the energy on the women instead of the couple. That's what I wanted to raise.
Thank you.
And Queen Felicite, thank you for that so much. Mba Shakunte, you can go ahead and we'll just let everyone just present their argument in full, and then when they finish, when they close their case, then we'll come in and we can comment after it by raising your hand or just unmuting your mic. So Mba Shakunte, it's on you. You can continue with your case in full, and when you're finished, we'll open back up for questions, comments, and rebuttals as well. So go ahead, sir.
Yes. So again, I'm gonna address directly to say, now, I'm not saying that there are not ignorant people who would act like that in Africa, just like here in the Western world. Here it exists as well, where when a man cannot get a woman pregnant, the blame is on a woman. That's a global thing. It's not just for Africa. So that's one. Now, and the counter argument is that Africa has put in place system. For instance, for those who are connected here from the West region, one of the first tests that's given to a king, that's being made a king after his experiences pass, it is to get a pregnant in Lakam. Okay, so if he cannot get that woman pregnant, he cannot be king. So that is a proof that if he goes to that test, is because our ancestors understood that a man can be problematic. So it's not something that we ignore traditionally, what that's saying. Now, there are a lot of, today in Africa, today, unfortunately, many countries in Africa, we are not acting the way we were acting before, because a lot of things that came from everywhere, whether it's from Saudi Arabia, whether it's from Europe or all that stuff. So we're not acting no more based in our very core traditional values. Again, if you know what's Lakam, you know one of the first thing that the king is put through is to get a woman pregnant. Now, if in those ancient traditions, if the man was believed never to have a problem, why they put that test in? So those are the questions we need to ask. Now, I like the fact that you corrected us when she says that the 30% quota that we have is in the Constitution of Cameroon. It's not in the Constitution of Cameroon. That was to kind of like, put back on track, because the Constitution of our country, Cameroon, doesn't have that as far as women. Now, when it comes to economy in Cameroon, let me talk about the West region of Cameroon, because that's the part that I know the most. I can go right now and give you how many millionaires women we have in Bana alone. Okay. Now, one of the things that we're told in the village is not to spread names of those who are like successful, quote unquote, unless they're already out there in the media. Okay. But I can tell you, we have a lot of them, very influential and successful. When it comes to agriculture, my sisters say that in agriculture, men are limited, that men are preferred for certain roles, and women are chosen or given what she maybe believe less roles that have less importance. Now, let me also tell you, sister, that in the Bamileke region or West region of Cameroon, the economic system was set up by women. I don't know if you're aware. An economic system, which is driven by what we call today Tontine, which is a local kind of banking system, was taught and put together by women. So that's one thing. Now, when it comes to the hard work on the land, as far as working the land or in tax, there are less, I would say, physical tasks that will bring to, for instance, here in the US, every time that I go to Cameroon, I always come back with some raffia bags. Those are bags made from the palm tree. Now, if you look the process of how they make raffia bags, okay, they're made from the leaves from the fiber coming on the palm tree. In that process, The only time the man is involved is when we climb the tree, because it's a very dangerous task. We don't give that to women. It's a task that requires a lot of.
Sorry, what is raffia bands? Sorry.
Raffia bag is a bag made out of palm leaves from a palm tree. Wait, let me bring it right now. 1 second.
Also, while we're waiting, Sister Zaneba, I'm saying it right. I see your hand is raised, so we'll call on you after Brother Monte concludes.
So these are this bag. I'm sure you guys saw it before. This bag. They're made from palm tree leaves, the palm tree fiber. All right.
And what you do with that? What you do with that?
Well, it's a bag. It could be a hand bag if you want. It could be a bag that you just
Okay.
wear like this. Wear like this. You know, it's a traditional bag made from the palm tree. Even like you can see here, greatest even watch here,
nice.
all the colors are natural colors. Yeah. So now,
thank you.
This bag, which is a very important bag in the Bamileke region. Now I'm going to talk about the West region because that's what I know the most. Okay. In that process, there is a process. The first process is farm the leaves, get the best ones. It's a very dangerous one. You know, the palm tree is a tall tree. Some of them can be 15 meters, 10, 12 meters. So the men will literally, you know, they will climb it, and women will not do it. It's a dangerous thing. And then there are cases where people die from where you climb, and then whether when you get up there, whatever rope that you have breaks, you fall on the floor, you die. I know a friend who actually broke his arm because he was climbing one, but he was going to get the palm nuts to make the oil. Now, when the man comes down, he gets the leaves, he removes the fiber. From there, the women take over. So the woman in the process of making this bag work on that 80%, the man is 20%. Now, are we going to say there are gender inequality there? But this is called gender intelligence, knowing what gender, you know, excel the most. Because when it comes to braiding this, because you see, it's every single fiber that you see that get braided, right? The dexterity of doing that whole process, that patience. Guess what? Everyone will do it, right?
Chakunti, can I stop you like about something, if you're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, like, you know, I'm completely agree with what you're saying, but basically, like, it's not just in Africa. For example, in Turkish, yeah, people, okay, man, how you saying, like, you know, climbing, like, you know, the tree, yeah, man climbs the tree to take the honey without any like security, whatever. But then after they bring the honey, they don't do nothing. The wife do every single thing. And how you say equality. And they know because intelligence, how you saying, yeah, they know like, you know, like wife have to do this one, this one, this one. And man, okay, they have to do like every crazy thing, like climbing something, even if they have to die. And like I saw one, I mean, I grew up in France, and like, you know, I've been like around like Turkish people, and like, you know, one of the Turkish people, they show me like a video. The dad, he was an old man. He was climbing a crazy tree without any like safety hammer or whatever, and like taking the honey. But after this one, when he come back home, it's just like, you know, the wife have to do everything, bread, whatever. But they do like all of the crazy, you know, like work, whatever. And is equality, even though it's not like, you know, like 50-50, but everybody know what they have to do. And in Africa is the same. But now I feel like, you know, people have to say, yeah, wife and like, you know, husband have to be like 50-50. And like wife to have to do like, I don't know how to say, but like, you know, kind of like, you know, if the man do this one, I can do as well. on if I'm doing too much, why he's not gonna do what I'm doing as well? But the wife, can she climb the tree? No, you know what I mean? But this one is not just in Africa, it's also in other countries as well. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Thank,
yes.
before you continue, Brother Monte, thank you, Sister Zaneba. Am I pronouncing your name right? I want to say it correctly. Is it
Zainaba.
Zaneba or
No,
Zaneba?
Zainaba. Zainaba.
Zainaba.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Queen, for that comment. Brother Monte, you can continue on. I just want to say that if we could just please let everyone just state their case in full. That way we don't lose our train of thoughts when they're making their argument. And then once they finish, everyone, you can raise your hand, and then you can also state your case in full as well with no interruptions. So I say that very respectfully and sincerely. Brother Monte, you can continue on, please.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, my sister. So here I'm here to prove that, you know, the term inequality in Africa as far as gender is a very dangerous pattern, because there's no way a woman is going to be equal to a man, vice versa. No way. Now, in that difference, there are systems that were put in place by civilizations, by some of the culture, to make these differences to create a society, right? So here I'm here to show that if you're trying to put equality between a man and a woman, you already failed society. And we see what's happening. So the people who are trying to bring that thing to their society, we see what's happening. And number one here is the United States. But that's for later. I'm gonna move on really quick by showing you my representation that I have over here. Bear with me for 1 second. Brother Justin, I have the permission, right?
Yes, I made you the host.
Okay, thank you. Bear with me 1 second, I'm sharing right now. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we said. I said yes.
All right. So, you know, often the argument that I heard from feminist movement is that, you know, Africa has always discriminated on women, or Africa is a patriarchy society. It has never been a matriarchy, or the woman places all second place, stuff like that. I heard that too much, but I need to set the record straight a little bit here by going back a little bit in our history and a little what our ancestors did in our history, understand. Now, what you see right here, those two statues that you see right there, they are statues. The left one that you see over here, this is from Sudan, from Nubia. Today it's called Sudan. And the other one that you see on the left, on the side over here, this is from what's called today Egypt, but the real name is Kemet, but we're going to call that Egypt. The particular of these statues is that one is 5,000 years old, the other one is 4,000 years old. Now, if I ask you the question, on this statue where you have a man and a woman standing, these are king and queen. Why the woman is the one holding the man? That's the question I'm gonna ask you when you look at this. And this video, you see all through those very marvelous and powerful civilization that lasts for almost 6,000 years. You see, every time you had a king standing with a queen, she was always the one holding the king. What do you think that means? Okay, I might not asking for you to answer now, but you could think, but let me tell you what it is. Because what you see right there still exists in our tradition. What you see right there is to say that the man is never complete unless a woman is balancing the man. We have this in our tradition. This is why they say to a man, when you're mad, night is gonna give you advice. They're talking about your wife, but she's a secret chamber. She is your secret chamber. The same way when you're gonna enter her as a man, enter a very unknown realm. But in that realm, she has the power to balance you, but it's more like a spiritual balance. This is all what they say in Africa, in Cameroon, or everywhere in Africa, that a house with an unhappy woman is like a volcano. They never house with an unhappy man. They're always referring to the house with a house with an unhappy woman. It's like so. What you see right here, it's our ancestors back then showing us the mighty importance of the woman. This is why our Holy Trinity, it is the woman, the man, and the son. It's never the other way around. It's not the son, it's not the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. You see, certain spirituality have removed the woman from the Holy Trinity. In Africa, back then, they put the woman first in the Holy Trinity. Let me show you another picture that proves that. Okay. Over here, you have the Ankh, which is the sign of life itself in those ancient traditions, which are our tradition. The Ankh has as a first sign that's always on the top, the womb of a woman. This is how you hold the Ankh. This is, you see our ancestor holding over here. The Ankh, that womb, that second womb right there, is to say that you can only enter eternity to life through the womb of a woman, so therefore to the woman. Now we have our traditional attire that we call Ndo, which is a Bamileke attire. The biggest sign in that attire, and the most important, is the sign of the woman, of course, also, which is represented by this lozenge figure. And in there, you have the white one is the seed of the man, but the blue one, it is that mystical liquid from the woman that she already has. Now, when you mix with the one from the man, the magic of seed or God happened, and then now after 9 months, she is this close to death, because whatever you see here with nothing is death. And then on the other side, on this side where you see the point, those are the stars that which represent life on the 4 corners, right? So again, in our tradition in Africa, it is shown with a bunch of masks and elements that the woman has been always the #1 element to the balance of the family. Okay, let me keep going. I'm going to make it short, please. Here now, this is the Bamileke tradition. You have over here the 4. Some people call 4. Some people say fond. We say feu in Bafan. It's the same thing. Now, this is the structure of the Bamileke kingdom. What you're going to see, who you're going to see in the forefront is the king called the 4. But the real force is the Mafo. You can go in any chefferie or any kingdom in real Bamileke, they're going to tell you who's the Mafo. She is that unseen force in the village that many people don't even know. But she is the only one that the king will consult when he cannot handle the problem. And the decision that she takes, nobody can overthrow that. If you guys didn't know, she's called Mafo. Now, by extension, some of the women today will be called Mafo, but that real Mafo, which is not necessarily the mother of the queen, though. There are many instances where the Mafo was not the mother of the queen, or of the king, I'm sorry. So I'm showing you again the pyramids of chain of command, which has on the top a woman, just like you had over here, the secret sound of life itself, which is eternal life, which is represented on top by a woman. Okay. We have Muammar Gaddafi, which is one of our ancestors who just passed, that the Western killed. His whole army was women, were all women. Now, did you ask the question why he chose women to protect him? Like his secret buttocks being. Well, I'm going to leave that maybe for those who want to research on that to understand why he let women protect him. Because he's one of the African leader recent that we have who understood the power of the woman. We have it over here in Nigeria. This is Queen Amina. Okay, now just go and research a little bit who is Queen Amina in Nigeria. Go, for instance, in the Ashanti tradition, you understand, you find out about Queen Nana Asantewa, who led an army of 26,000 women. So, I'm saying all of this to say that the issue that we have in Cameroon today with so-called gender inequality, we have some, sorry, my friends, some ass old men who believe that a woman is just good for kitchen, or a woman is just good for babies. Of course, here in the US, I know men, white men who think just like that. Go in the Amish community. I don't know if you guys know about Amish community here in the United States. These are people, well, just go research on them and you're going to see how they see women. In Europe, same thing. Myself, I've been in France for a while. You also have over there problems with women for the same job, and sometimes doing even better don't have the same time. New York City, 2018, it was a huge protest where women from New York City were protesting that they're not getting the same salary than men for the same job. So this problem of patriarchy, which was introduced originally by the Holy Trinity, where the woman moved. I'm going to leave that alone for people to understand what I mean, because I like to talk about problems from their origin. This problem of women being removed from the family starts with the Holy Trinity that some people believe in, where you have Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, woman. So if you remove in the Holy Book or in the spirituality, if you are already removed from it, of course, you're going to be oppressed by that family, by that society. Okay? In the Bamileke tradition, just like in many African traditions, the most important rituals cannot be done without women. Those who know, they're going to know about this. And I can name a few of them. When a twin is born in a family, we know how important it is. When twins are born, Africa, we know how important it is. There are 3 rituals that take place. In all 3 of them, if the woman is not there, it cannot take place. I don't care how much rich that man is. So now go and ask why. I'm gonna keep going. When it comes to, I don't know if whoever here has done farming before, as far as on a big scale. There is a part of farming when you farm in the village. When it comes to plant the seeds, I say when it comes to start planting the seeds, why they're always giving that to the hand of women to plant it? Why it's always to hold that in the hand and then just plant it? And the man would step on the side and give it to them so they plant it. Go ahead and act. So we can sit here and just focus on these differences that we see elsewhere. But let's not make a mistake to say, oh, this is only in Africa. No, I see the same discrimination, if you want to say so, here in the United States or in Europe. Where I see the most way they put the woman in the most valuable form is in Africa indeed. But you have to go in traditional Africa, not in those who don't know. They don't really know where they are. Like, they kind of like swinging like this. So yeah, and I'm gonna end up by saying that to my sister that she referred to the employment section, saying that the higher the top position you go, the lower woman. I want you to give me a society. If you can answer, if you can just give me a country, the world, or a society that's otherwise, where when you go in higher in position, you see more women equal. And then I will just lay right here and I'll open the floor for questions or other arguments. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, brother. Thank you. That was very, very interesting and very powerful what you just spoke, not to discredit what our queen spoke previously. So does anyone want to come on and offer either agree or disagree with what our brother Monte just said?
I think
And
about
My hand is up, Justin.
Oh,
Me
okay.
too.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sister Petronella. Mama Gasson, my apologies. Please, please, you can speak.
I was taking note because that's how I wasn't. I had to go try to make something to eat. I'm very hungry. You have to excuse me. And I had taken note initially, but I want to start with the bottom so I don't forget what he just said. Women, they have women plant the seeds, they have women do this, they have women do that. Please, I don't want anybody, I don't want to anybody to think that I'm coming in a position of a feminist. No, I'm coming in a position of a woman, of a Cameroonian woman who have grown up the first part of my life in that society of, and what I've seen, experienced with me, my mother, my friends. And so the last part that Brother Monte mentioned, yes, there's no, the world, the world would not be the world without a woman to bear children and human being. Mankind come from a woman. Of course, a man is a two-way street. It seems as if women are when they're valuable, you would not look for to see her handprint in everything. However, the respect and the place, the first place, when the picture that Brother Monte was showing, the woman is always second to the man. When we're talking, if we're talking about anything, and we bring the Holy Trinity, my personal view, the Holy Trinity is not, even though that's what the mainstream go by, there's a lot of things. If we, for some of us who have read and, travel, Christianity, so much of the Holy Trinity that we talk about is based on Christianity, and Christianity it has been a doctrine manipulated to for a purpose, for a specific purpose. So a lot of the thing, even the place of the woman, when they say the man sit in front, the woman sit in the back. The woman cannot speak up in public, because the going back and saying this is what was done when you're reading the Old Testament and Abraham and in the time of Sarah and all this. But just to respond, comment on the last part of what Brother Moncam said, women have her place. She's always there. She can, she's always present in things, but she's always present in things, but in my humble view, always as a second class person. When they need her to do something, it's best done by her, she's going to do it. Why not? But when it comes time to, the king is going to her to act in secrecy, but in public, the king is the one who takes all the honor. So the little child who's growing up, the little boy who's growing up, sees his father, the king. He knows that he's the king. He's the almighty, and the woman is a second class. And this is groomed into us as we grow up. That's just my humble comment. And I'm going to go to the comment that I made as you were talking. When I think Zenoba asked something. When you were talking about, you say you started by talking about the king, when you were responding to the fact that she say the woman is always accused if she doesn't bear children. And you mentioned that the king, the traditional process of a king, when he's become a king, he has to get a woman pregnant in the lockup. So now the argument that you're saying is that the infertility of a man has always been considered, has always been acknowledged. But what if, this is hypothetical, and I'm sure this has happened in the past, not all kings have gotten a woman pregnant. What if the woman didn't get pregnant, they're not gonna firsthand, they're just gonna get him another wife, another woman. And I'm sure we all know in all, I don't know, in all, what do you call it, realistically, there would just be saying going on that she can get pregnant, they can get pregnant, they have to do all this tradition, they have to do this. But generally speaking, the blame would be passed on the woman. And that woman who was not able to bear a child would be probably ostracized because she didn't fulfill what the expectation that was of her. And
Lemangasa, please,
yes.
please, I need to speak about this, please. It has happened, and he cannot change. First of all, he doesn't go there. There are 3 women there for him. He needs to get at least one of them pregnant. So it's not just one. And if he cannot, that's like one of the most important things. If he cannot get a woman pregnant, there's no way he can be king. Now, some of the voices we are not following the tradition anymore. There are so many, I'm not even gonna go there, but we are kind of like right now trying to single out these little villages. In a real Lakam, if you speak to a real Bamili king, they'll tell you, because if a king cannot get a woman pregnant, I mean, that's like there's no way you can continue the bloodline, and there's no way you can pass down that spiritual strength that lineage has. So this is why they don't put him there only with one. He has at least 3 in there. Most of the time, it's actually more than that. Yeah.
And now, if I understand correctly, if none of the 3 or 4 or 5 is getting pregnant, it's obvious that the problem is from him, and they're not going to proceed with him, crowning him the final stage that,
he's not going to go, he's not going to even move to the next stage. Over there, no. Yeah.
Okay. Now, and I believe it's Zenova who spoke, I believe so. I don't think it was Petronella. Maybe it was Petronella.
It was Zeneba.
Zeneba. And she responded to Petronella, when a man is allowed to take another wife when he's, we're not talking about a king now, we're just talking about a regular person. And this is, a man is very acceptable, that if a woman doesn't bear children, a man can take another wife.
I didn't say that, darling.
Huh?
I didn't say that. I just talked about, like, the Turkish people, about
no, but I'm saying, even if you didn't say it, I'm saying that's what happened. We're talking about the society in Cameroon, because it's a polygamous society, is accepted. So when a woman doesn't have a child, it's okay for the man for the husband to seek the child, get another wife to give him a child, because again, we go back to the scripture, which has influenced a lot of what we do, because even Abraham, somebody will tell you, even in the Bible, Abraham took his maid and all this, and we see example of this throughout Jacob and Sarah and I don't know, Jacob, or I don't even remember the name, but what I'm getting at is that when we talk about gender equality, when is the woman who is not able to have the child, and is accepted in the society that the man can take another wife, what is the table is turned, and it's the man that cannot have a child. It's a form of gender inequality if she doesn't have the same right to, because they're wanting to preserve the image of a family, of the family unit. Is unacceptable. It's unheard of in an African society, let alone in Cameroon, to say the woman, or to do it officially, like it's open, it's not in secrecy, but that the woman is seeking another husband. One of the speakers before me mentioned that, which is something that I also see personally, like that's a form of gender inequality, because what is good enough we're all created equal. What is good for one person should be the same for the other. Every individual has to choose. If a woman say, I can do that, that's her choice. But the choice should not be, the society should not dictate how this issue should be handled. That's just my humble opinion
No,
on that.
I'm completely agree on what I don't understand. See, like, for example, in Islam, yeah, they say man can marry like four wife or whatever, have like I don't know how many kids, but wife cannot. If a wife go away to see someone else to have a kid because the husband cannot have a kid, she's gonna be blamed.
Mhm.
And that's not normal. I don't know. That's my point of
Okay,
view. I'm Muslim, but I don't understand.
the
So,
other
I'm like against. I kind of like against God, but like against Allah, because like I'm like, if your husband cannot have a kid and you love him, you wanna stay with him, but you wanna have a kid, your husband wants a kid, then why not like go with someone else and have a kid? Because he's gonna do the same if you cannot have a kid.
and that's, to me, that's why I'm defining as a form of gender inequality, because what is acceptable for the man is not acceptable for the woman, and the society have come to accept that.
But
And then the
like it's just like earlier what I was saying about like Chakutul, it was like when he was saying like people climb, men climbing the tree, all of this thing. That's true. Like women cannot do what men can do, but in men's time, like it's got another side, which one it should be equality. But the mirth, like the tradition and the religion, everything, come in middle and say like this one is not possible. I'm kind of like not agree about that. But like maybe God gonna punish me. Maybe I'm gonna go in the but in the
okay,
Oh.
and the other aspect, when I spoke initially, when we were talking about education and the girls knowing her place, and some of the research that I've done have led me, I didn't know this. This is not coming from personal, it's coming from personal experience, but also from research. The background, the parents' background, especially if the mother, especially, yeah, the say the parent, the family unit, if the parents, the background, educational background of the parents has sometimes to do with uh, how the girl sees herself, what she thinks she can do, how she goes about to feel she's equal to her counterpart, the male, is sometimes the parents' background, educational wise, has to do with it, because that's what it's not always. It's not something proof, but it's always. It could be the parents' background could have an effect on how the girl feel if she's being if she's receiving a different treatment than the male. And brother, I think is Monte, who spoke a couple times. You used the when you were using the showing the images, you say this proof that women have a place, women are. I would personally be very careful, because when we're in discussion like this, unless what I was taught a long time ago, the term, when you use the term proof, that really raised a lot of red flag, because we're not in doing any scientific experiment. And what you're saying is an interpretation of something that maybe you have researched. It is your interpretation. It's not an experiment that we can all put A and B and come back with the same result today or 100 years from now. So that term, when we're having a discussion, I would personally not say disprove anything. This is just like even with religious discussion. When people say so and so's chapter verses say that proves that, it doesn't prove. There's no, if it's not an experiment that I can go and put my own donate. How do you my own how do you say that in English? Put my own term, A plus B equals C, and I show that? No. But these are just, we're seeing picture, we're reading what people have wrote about it. and say about it. And we make our own, we draw our own conclusion based off our level of understanding. So those are the points that I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Gassan, for that. Sister Felicite, I see your hand is raised. Feel free to unmute yourself and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you once more for the floor, and thank you, Mama Gassam, for the highlight, because for me it was very, very deep. It's true that Brother Chakunte brought us in a like the ancestry, like I don't know how many century before, but we are talking about nowadays our basis in Cameroon, how women are treated in Cameroon nowadays. I grew up with a lot of forbidden, like women cannot eat gizzard. Women cannot eat this. Women cannot this. It's only for men. That's how I grew up. And as a woman, you cannot do this. You cannot do that. And when it comes to the infertility that we were talking about, like a woman cannot easily decide that since my husband cannot give me a child, I can go and see another one, like publicly, and assume it. Because in the Bamileke context that you are talking, we have seen a lot of notables that have not put to bed, but like some women sometimes to save the image, because we always protect the pride of the man instead of women. Like women, it's always like in the second place. Women can receive all the insult, all the blame, but the men, we need to preserve their pride. So some women sometimes, for the pride of their husband, they hide and go and carry a baby and say is their husband baby. That's common in Cameroon, but they cannot say it publicly. They need to hide to do that. But a man, is easy for him to just go and take another wife if the other one cannot give birth. So this is unequal situation that we are talking about. We are not trying to because when it's come to feminism, we always want to relay our complaints, our fight with Europeans fights. No, we are talking like I'm a Cameroonian woman. I live in Cameroon, and every day I experience gender inequality. You cannot talk where men are talking. Like I'm a kind of problematic person. They call me dissident, rebel, because when I want to say something, I say it, but they will tell me a woman does not talk when men are talking. You need to be quiet, or you go behind and then tell him why someone should be the one to bring my point on the table. I need to speak for myself, because I'm the one experienced that. Because even when we talk about the 30% in the government, there will be always like, now in Cameroon we are fighting for the family code, which has been for too long now on the table, and they don't validate it. When it comes to, I don't know how to put it, like a man can cheat her wife without any problem. Like he needs to be caught in French we say flagrance délit. Like if you don't catch him on action, he cannot be punished. But a woman, if you just enter in a room with a man who is not your husband, they don't want to know what you were doing inside that room. You will be punished for that. for the only fact that you get into a room without a man who is not your husband. It might be your friend. We were discussing in something. They don't care about that, and this is legal. This is what our code, our penal code says. So man will be always receiving the circumstance attenuant.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, women will be condemned. So these are some basic things that we face in a daily basis. That
Basis. Yes.
yes,
Thank you.
exactly. Yeah. So thank you.
And that's why the one, even in this society, when they're talking about equal rights between races, this is because you have to go. It's not the obvious, the big things. Like you're gonna go in a class, for example, you see a lot of girls, and you're gonna say, "Oh, there's no." Is what we're trying to say here, in the sense, is like we're painting. This is something very deep. This is a canvas, and we take a paintbrush and just say, "Oh, women are doing this, women are doing that, women are," just like in this society, we can say black cannot be complaining when a black has been a president. Women cannot complain when a woman is now a vice president. We cannot say that, because underneath, and if there's a way to explain this, we have to use the race tension, the race divide, to explain what the gender imbalance is, because it's not the big picture. There's a little picture, just like what you're talking about. The woman, even though it's the defect, let's call it that, is from the husband's side, she's going to put herself in jeopardy to save the face, save the image, and go and carry a child for her husband's sake. Maybe some may want it, some may not, just for the, I mean, this is unstated. So this is a very, very, I appreciate what you're saying, my sister. This is because we have to have other people who have not experienced it. Because just like with race, they say if you are not a person who has been discriminated because of your race, you cannot really understand what it is, because it's like just like we talk about white privilege. There's male privilege. It comes without saying. It's not something that you can fathom, because it's like, no, I don't see it in my family. I don't see somebody, I don't know if it was Felicite or somebody who mentioned that when you come from a place of privilege, you went to school, you never encountered anything. That's why I brought that aspect of the parents' background. The parents, there's that aspect. What kind of social class did you grow up in? Because some of that has to do also with how the parents are raising the children, how your environment, your neighborhood, the school you're going to, the people around you. If everybody is just in the proletariat, in the average, and you know your place. Thank you.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Mama.
and we talk about the Njangi. I forget to mention that Njangi for me is like a kind of survival strategy for women. It's not really an economical empowerment like he was talking about. It's a survival strategy, because the western region that you are talking about, the polygamy, when you have like 4 or 5 children, most of them today does not pay for the education of the children. Women need to fight for their children education. That's why they involve themselves into njangis. They sell plenty, a lot of things to make money to support the family. So njangi for me honestly is a survival strategy built up by women. It's not that our society has organized it that way. It's women's strategy.
Sister Felicity, do you have a time frame when that Jambi was created in the West region? Do you know the time frame when that system was created?
I don't really know, and I think it's not only in the West region. Like we have Nana Benz in Benin and Togo. It's
I looked into that, Brother
we talk
Monte.
about-
The Njangi originated from China. I believe so. If I'm not in the
Uh-huh.
stuff that I've looked into, Chinese is they call it something different, but it's a form of Njangi. It originated. The Chinese started that because even today, that's what that's how the community thrive. And I live. I mentioned that I live in the DC area, and I was in business, and one of the business would purchase it from a Korean, and he told us they call it differently. They put money together. They help one person, one couple acquire a grocery store, and they're gonna groom somebody. They would groom somebody to take over. Sometimes if they have children, they would bring a Korean, somebody from their country, and groom that person. And then when the time comes, the judge that is fit, there is literally a group, is like a collective. They put the money together, the purchase, and they put that person in it. And the goal is literally Njangi, business Njangi. And before I think it's Sister Felicite who talked about that. I wanted to also what is my note here? The fact that she was talking about the women are going during the Njangi to pay for the children. Brother Monte, the thing with the kings, I didn't know this. This is something new to me since I've been involved in ABBA and going and visiting kings and all that. I was very shocked to find out that although this is a prestigious position to be a king, the king doesn't take care financially of any of his wives or children. And the wife are the one bringing the food on the table. When the king is waiting for his round, he go around to eat at different wives. He go in the room at night.
Then he's not a king. Then he's not a king.
That's what I
Well,
was told by the
That's
people.
the reality. It's
Yes.
the
so Mama
reality
Gassan,
in the
but
Western region.
I think we hear no. This is where this conversation can make sense as far as look. We can come in this society over here and find the same thing. I want us to argue on the system of those people, the system that they put in place originally, right? Now, problems are everywhere. Now, when, for instance, you say that the Njangi system, for you guys who don't understand what we talk about, that Njangi thing is the community thing where we come together and we put our money together, and you go over there, you can just loan whatever amount you want. The amount is free. It's not Chinese who brought that to us. I'm sorry, mother. That's not its concept that was brought to us by Chinese. Okay, it is a concept that was actually infused in the Bamileke king, or I would say traditions, and also system even before the European arrived. I'm gonna show you. Yes. Yes. So, and back then it was not done with any paper money. Back then it was done with what we call grenier. People were putting the goods together in the same room, in the same kind of like mud house, okay? And then from there, if in a village, for instance, you don't have enough banana, you will come from that same grenier, which is just a storage, food storage, a very traditional food storage, and then you will actually get whatever you need from it. But you had the duty as a farmer for the next season to give it back with the same banana or something else. So that concept was never brought to us by no Chinese. I just want to
Okay.
clear before we even continue. Yeah, brothers, Justin, you can go ahead and maybe let other people talk, because I know we've been going back and forth.
So I did see two hands raised from two people who we haven't heard from yet. The first was from our sister Emily Mommy, and then our brother Munkam had his hand raised as well. And I see sister Felicite's hands raised as well. So first, sister Emily Mommy.
Me too. I need to talk.
Okay, yes, you and you're the special guest, so you as well. So sister Mommy, please unmute and the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry first again because my English is not that well. So I'm listening since the restart, and I want to point out certain things Mama Gassan said. I just want, she said women are like a lower category and the second plan. The women always stand behind the men and stuff like that. I want to emphasize this. Our society has a rule, or everyone has its own place. It's not being behind or being in the second place where the women were in our society. I mean, like before the colonization, even after. Women they have their own place, and there is no conflict. When we talk about gender discrimination, I want us to have on our head that women are not equal as men. We are not never been like the same in the same place. That's not something we have to. I don't want to compare myself with a man. I don't want to say I want to stand where the man stands. No, I have my own place. I have my own duty as a woman, and the men cannot do like that. In our society back then, women and men received two kinds of education different. Men went to the bush. Oh, let me speak in French if someone can translate for me. I'm saying, les hommes avaient leur éducation et les femmes la leur. Les hommes étaient éduqués à la guerre, à la chasse, et les femmes étaient éduquées au support de la famille, à la consolidation de la famille. Et ce rôle était même bien plus important que celui de l'homme, parce que c'est ce rôle-là c'est avec cela qu'on soudait notre société, qu'on avait une société grande, parce qu'on avait des familles solides. Du moment où la femme veut prendre la place de l'homme.
Let me transit from here, please. Let me transit from here real quick before you keep going. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. Can you allow me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So she's saying that in that relationship, even in Africa, also in Africa in general, men and women will have two different education, where the men will be trained for war. They would train for hunting, going out there in the forest and hunt and all that stuff. The women will be trained to maintain the family home, bring all those different things together and to maintain pretty much the family as one. And then she said that in most instances, that was actually the most important role, because that was the role that was assigned. That's the role that actually keep the society together. Yeah, so that's what she's saying. Maybe I forgot something else.
Non, c'est bon. Et pour continuer, je dirais que du moment où les femmes ont commencé à vouloir prendre la place de l'homme, vouloir être au même niveau, être considérées comme l'homme, c'est là où on a commencé à assister au déclin de la société. Et cela se vit même dans la société occidentale dans laquelle nous vivons. La société est en plein déclin.
So, yeah. So she's saying the moment that woman tries to step on the foot, trying to step on the place of the man, that's actually when society starts declining. And we can see that actually in the Western society, and she's pointing that how dangerous that is. Yeah, keep going.
Elle disait dans la société occidentale dans laquelle nous vivons aujourd'hui est en perte de valeur et en perte de repères, parce que personne n'occupe plus la place qui était la sienne. Personne ne joue plus le rôle qui était le sien. La femme a abandonné sa place de la mère de l'humanité, celle qui consolide la famille, celle qui consolide la société, pour aller prendre la place de l'homme. Et on va dans tous les sens. On a des familles qui nous ressemblent, on a une société qui n'a, comme je disais tantôt, qui n'a plus de repères, qui va dans tous les sens, parce qu'effectivement, on a perdu la base, on a détruit le socle même de la famille.
Et le respect.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's saying because of that, because we have deviated from that kind of like sharing roles, we can see in these Western society how everything is going left and right, where we don't know who does what no more, and then pointing that this is why they're declining, and then that is dangerous for both sides to lose exactly these roles that we had in the past. So, vas-y, peut-être que j'ai pas bien dit, mais bon,
Non, je pense, tu as, en gros, tu as résumé ce que j'ai dit. Et c'est dans ce que je voulais donc pointer, que l'égalité, ça me pose souvent problème. Quand on veut réduire la place de la femme à celle de l'homme. Parce que pour ma part, dans notre société, le rôle de la
equality causes me problem when we wanna bring women equal thing. Saying it's causing a problem. Vas-y.
Oui, parce que quand je dis ça me pose problème, c'est parce que pour moi, c'est réducteur de dire que la femme est égale à l'homme, vu le grand rôle qu'occupait la femme. Venir aujourd'hui me dire que je veux être, que la femme va être égale à l'homme, c'est baisser carrément, m'enlever du piédestal sur lequel j'étais pour me déposer sur le sol. C'est me rabaisser en tant que femme, que de me dire que je suis égale à l'homme.
Saying that I'm talking about her, saying that I am supposed to be equal to men is actually reducing me, because the biggest role that I have as a woman, doing what I have to do, is actually reducing me as a woman. Yeah.
Ouais. Et je pense que c'est vrai que c'est pas facile de garder la suite dans ses idées quand on est interrompu pour être traduit. Ouais, je vais laisser un peu si quelqu'un a quelque chose à dire d'autre.
So yeah, she's saying that it was not difficult. It's a little difficult for her to keep her train of thought, because every time I have to translate, but now she can stop here and then leave the floor and she might come back. Yeah.
I mean, about what Emily is saying, yeah, basically when she don't know where to stand, and she's in the floor, is because the respect is loose, because basically there is no respect, because nobody know who he is exactly. Man don't know his place. Woman don't know his place. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, Justin.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
yes.
what. And when you don't know your place, that's what, like you said, you're losing respect. You're losing, and know your place is not me. Someone is superior than me, or I'm inferior than another one. I know my place.
Exactly, because basically for me, I'm from large family. My mom, she's been carrying everything in the house, family coming from over the place, everything. I mean, I'm from large family. My dad, he's doing his side. As my mom, even though she's cooking, whatever, she never say I'm doing labor. Dad is just enjoying doing whatever, drinking his tea. Every time when dad is coming home, she's drinking his tea, whatever, and she's happy with that. And she done this one for, I don't know, I mean, I'm 40 now. That she's happy. And as then, who makes the home is my mom. Because my dad respect my mom respect my dad, and because the rule has been put in place from the beginning. But now, how Emily said, the society now, because we try to get the European people, whatever, then we completely become lost, I think. No?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that comments, Queens and Neighbor as well. I see our
queen. Thank you. I'm a queen.
Yes,
Thank you.
you all the women on here are queens. So I just want to put that out at first. So I see our queen Petronella has a few comments in the comments chat. I know it's been a while since we heard from you. I want to give you the opportunity to come on, and I know you have something to say about that. So please, the floor is yours.
And thank you very much for listening to me. And I'm gonna, stop talking now.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity once more. I want to thank Brother Chakunte for bringing a lot of points on, and yeah, he really got it hard. Those points that Brother Chakunte raised were very interesting. I was very happy to see that actually women are recognized. And I wanted to say something. One of the images that you posted of where the images with the king and the queen, and you made mention of the fact that the queen held the king. Yeah, it's a very interesting something, and it means a lot. That message, in my understanding, I got it as a woman is a helpmate and not an object. That's what I understood from the image. I don't know if anybody isn't like me, but that's my point of view. Okay.
Actually, about that, darling, like, also, I forgot your name. I don't know. My phone is like, tricking me. But like, is it not like, the wife is the second rib or like second something of the bone of the man?
Yeah.
Is it something? Is it some expression like that? Like, I don't know how you say expression in English. Expression.
And also, I wanted to say, yeah, but Chakunte still mentioned the fact of the idea about the raffia, the raffia back. But Chakunte, that was another interesting point. Yeah, these images. Thank you for sharing again. Yeah, because these images, I interpreted it as the role of a woman here is to be a helpmate and not an object. Secondly, I want to talk about the issue of
Sister, let me precise this more. This what you see right here. This is what you see right here, and I will also answer to the Mami Ngasan. These things, our ancestors have written down. There is a language called Medjunete, which is a language right now that Sheikh Antajab and Professor Obenga have done extensive work to show the relation between those languages in African language today, so we can understand Medjunete. These people are telling us what this means. This, what you see right here, mean that the balance, I say the balance of the man comes when he meets a woman. And that's a spiritual balance, which is the most important part of the human being, that spiritual side. So she is our spiritual type of safe house, okay? Therefore, the most important part of the family. This is what that means.
Ok, mais attends, par rapport à ça, quand tu dis ça, d'accord, est-ce que c'est pas par rapport, en fait, une expression qui dit que la femme, elle est, la moitié de, de la côte ou je sais pas quoi, de l'homme. Je sais plus c'est quoi l'expression.
La femme est faite de la côte. In Christianity, it says the woman was made from the man's rib, from Adam's. Eve was made from Adam's.
And maybe that's why she's holding him, no?
No. Wait, hold on, please. This has nothing to do with European view, or please, I want to bring this up because what you see here, we still have this same concept in our tradition today. Now, what you see right here is actually the other way around, okay? Where in that family structure, the balance only comes when the woman is present. Okay, I said the balance, and you already know, if you're not balancing anything you do, you're gonna be wobbling all the time. There's not even point to do anything no balance, right? So that's what that means. That stability in that family structure will come from her, right? Yeah, that's what it means. But so this has no relationship with the, the man was created first, and then the woman was created from the womb, from the rib of a man. No, that's not an African concept. It has never been. In Africa, it's actually that both of them came as a duality. Never one came after the other one. It's a duality.
No,
so
I'm not saying about like Christian because I'm Muslim, but in like, Muslim, they say like something like about like, man, woman is like, part of the man, or man is part of the woman. I don't know. Something like this one. And basically the wife, like the woman, like help the man to go further.
No, so these are foreign, you know, beliefs. That's nothing to do with Africa. These are stuff that were brought from us from the eastern, from Saudi Arabia, or it's not an African concept.
And brother Monte, if we can for 1 second, because I know our Queen Petronella, she wanted to touch on that same slideshow, but she wanted to see the raffia bags. If you could go to that slide, and we can let her finish her presentation, and then you can follow with this discussion. So please hold that thought, and we can let her continue.
Just quickly, brother Chakun, can you send this one to oh God, I forgot. Okay, never mind. It's okay.
Like a PDF or something like that?
Yeah, PDF, yeah, please.
Okay.
So then I can check it, because I still don't understand, these things.
Okay.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, so Sister Petronella, floor is back yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now as concerns the raffia bag that Chakunte was talking about, I did mention earlier that gender division of roles is of high dominance in the agricultural sector. Yeah, he said something like men do go up the raffia trees to get the raffia bags. Very accurate, because a woman cannot climb a tree. The women had other things that they did which was more than climbing those trees. They had to fetch water from distant stream. They had to take care of the house, people who were sick, of the community, the children. They had a lot of responsibilities that they were carrying on. It wasn't like men were going up the raffia trees while women sat down. One of our sisters just said women should know their place. Yeah, the women have always known their position in the man's house. They've always known. As a Cameroonian woman, we always know our place in every person in the community. Okay, now I have two lineage, Southwest and Northwest. So let me talk about the Northwest side now. Where I come from, my grandfather had 3 wives. He was an agriculturalist. We had those raffia things that we do. So he was in charge of cutting down the raffia trees, the things for the raffia bag. So maybe he wants to make like 30 bags or 40 bags. He goes up to the tree, he cuts them down. That was his only job that he had to do. My grandmother, they did the bags. Upon fetching water, upon molding blocks, upon matching nuts for palm oil, those are things that he attributed to my grandmothers. They did those things. They made the bags after cooking and taking care of their kids and going to the farms and
washing the clothes.
They did the bags. Upon doing the bags, they took the bags to distant markets. Anybody from the Northwest, from Bengui, will tell you this. All the women who got married in Bengui in those days, they'll tell you what I'm telling you. I don't know about the other parts of Bamenda or the other parts of the western region that you guys are coming from, but in Bengui, most of our parents will tell you that they did this, and it's normal for us to do too. So they took the bags to the distant markets on foot, because there wasn't any means of transportation in those days. They sold. Some of them were deprived of not even buying their basic needs, because my grandmother will tell you she doesn't know what they call baby soap. When I tell her about this is soap, she asked me, does soap take somebody to heaven? Because she has never known what was bathing soap. She doesn't know all those things. So she sold those bags. She came back home with the money, and she handed the money to my grandfather. My grandfather in return takes the money, goes and gets married to another woman, and live his life as a man. Till today, my grandmother has never known what is it for her to take decisions. If you give her anything, she's going to give them to her sons.
Yeah.
She's going to give them to her sons. And she tells my grandmother doesn't eat egusi pudding. She doesn't eat gizzard. She doesn't eat any good thing that tastes in the man. My grandmother to this day, she tells me it is the role of a man to eat anything sweet.
Oh.
Me, today in my community, I have a negative stigmatization because I tell them I am not a woman of in those days. I am a Cameroonian woman, a civilized Cameroonian woman. I am not gonna take those bullshit. I eat gizzard. I eat a goosey food. I tell her about it was in those days that people eat those things. And because of that, I don't want to attribute it to my personal life. I don't know the way people see me in my community as a very radical feminist.
I'm not Cameroonese, but I'm very proud of you. I don't know what you say it.
Because I'm not gonna sit back and deprive myself of those things that make me happy just to please a man. I'm gonna please him. I know my role. I'm gonna take care of his house. I'm gonna wash his clothes. I'm gonna cook him the best African dish as a Cameroonian woman that was brought up in the Cameroonian community. I know all my traditional dishes. I'm gonna do that as my role of a woman. Give him birth. I'm very fertile. I'll give him as many children as he wants. I have my life to live. After doing those things, I need time to rest. In those days, they used to tell us that women did not take part in decision-making forums because after doing all those things, they take care of the sick, they take care of their husbands, they sell for their husbands, they do those things. My grandmother till today, she matches nuts. Her husband taught her to match nuts. All what they do is harvest the nuts and keep. They remove the nuts from the cones, they boil the nuts. After they match the nuts with the feet, they start selecting with their hands. All those things, any chef from Bengui, all of us who grew up in Bengui will tell you we've gone through those things, including me. And when it comes even to eat, they'll tell me I don't have to eat yam. Do you know they harvest those? They harvest, we go to the farm and harvest yams from the village, from the farm, I will bring them. The best yams go to the men. Me as a woman, I have to eat this. I start struggling after 7 days with the men, the family, which is my pride. It's not like I'm angry for 7 days. No. But at least today we are talking about an issue of human rights. If we are talking about an issue of human rights, we are all humans. We have freedom of expression. And if human rights is all about freedom, we have the freedom to express ourselves as a woman. A Cameroonian woman cannot express herself. Me, as a woman, I'm telling you, as a woman, I cannot talk in public. It's not because I cannot talk in public, because my society has always put me down as a woman. Like Mamanga Sam said, as a woman, you're not supposed to talk. They have always told me that, Petronella, you talk too much. I almost became deaf when I was a kid because woman does not sit like this. Woman does not talk like this. Woman does not do this. Woman does not do this. Woman does not do this. They keep pressurizing. They keep keeping my abilities. Now I'm struggling to live a life where it's like I'm from a cave.
You
I
know,
don't
darling,
know what to do because I took those things from Africa and I came with it in Europe. I'm struggling to feed myself in the European system and I'm struggling to go back to my community.
Petrola, have you got a kid?
I've gotten a kid.
You've got kid, yeah?
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say to you? Like, you know, for example, for my mom, he like, you know, he was his dad and mom, like how the way how, you know, you grow up your kids, that's how they're gonna, you know, like, you know, act, yeah? And the man in my mom family acted the way how, you know, the dad, you know, make them grow. And my mom makes the same thing for my brother. And now, like, even though you had a hard time, you know, in your life, now just forget about the past and say, yeah, I'm alive. And like, teach your child, your boys, if you got a boys, teach them the way how to treat a woman, because that's how the community gonna change. I'm not Cameroonese. I came to this group because Vincent, like, you know, invited me, and I wanted to see, like, you know, what it's about, and I wanted to learn about, like, you know, Cameroonian people. I'm from Chad. I'm just like, you know, cross, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see, like, you know, what you're talking about and like learn about you. Because I mean, I'm from Chad. I mean, like, I didn't born over there and everything. I grew up in France, but I just wanted to know about my culture and everything. I'm pleased to know about, like, you know, everything which you're talking. Like, just teach your kids, you know, if you got a boy, teach them the way how to treat women, and that's how the society can evolve, you know, move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And what
thank you.
you experience, then never gonna happen again.
Thank you.
Love you. You've been,
Love
you know,
you
like, you
too.
know, you've been
Yeah,
very, like,
because
you know, brave. You've been
we
very
have a lot
brave,
of
like, you
situations
know.
like this. I got friends that got deprived of education because they were females. Like their parents told them. I have a friend like that, Chantal. I will never keep forgetting about her because she's suffering today because of lack of information and education. They had her father had one boy, The father had
Yeah.
to send that boy to the highest level. And the
Yeah.
3 girls were at home. All they did was to wash plates, go to the farm, cook.
But the thing, you see, like, how you talking now, yeah? You can do something because you've got a big mouth. You are like, having like kind of like power in you, yeah? Then just talk around you. And when you are not happy about something, just tell them. And this one can change people's mind.
Zenova,
Yeah.
yes, it's what my comment was
Yeah.
Petronella is literally depicting what I was talking about. If you have experience
Yeah.
what we're talking about, we're not trying to say men is the same as women or women is,
No.
but every human being has a right to be and to make decision for themselves.
No, completely. But that's what I'm saying earlier. Like,
Yes.
maybe you misunderstand me because my mom, my mom, she's like, maybe 50 something. My dad is like 10 years older. Yeah. Even though my mom, she's doing all of the like, labor, whatever. My dad bring money at some point, everything. But my mom, she's the one crazy big mouth. My mom, she's got all of the decision.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand that.
women have been deprived.
It's because they have a respect. They have something put in place on everything. My dad and my mom put something in place. Which one? We are just 2 girls and like 6 boys. Yeah, and the boy respect us more than crazy.
And that's what it should be.
Yeah.
If a woman is choosing, if she's choosing to do whatever, like your mom, that's one thing.
Happy to do it.
But exactly. But when you don't have you this is all you know. Even now at this stage, when Petronella grandmother, she doesn't have, she can eat the gizzard, she can eat the egusi, but it's ingrained in her.
In her mind. That's crazy.
She had internalized it, and that's just, it takes education, because sometimes your women, your own kind would be the one, just like I mentioned before, to tell you, don't make us ashamed, act like a girl. You're gonna make, but people would not want the son to come to our family to look for women if you're doing that, if you're speaking out, because they're gonna say, oh, those women are the type of women that they don't marry. They're not the marrying kind.
Yeah.
The label.
Yeah, but the thing, like about what you're saying now, this one, he will be the picture of my sister. My sister, she's born in 93, yeah? And my sister, compared to me, my mom, she's doing everything. But in meantime, once she has to talk to my dad, she's giving the point. My dad is not going to open his mouth. Like, she's got all of the power. But, like, my mom, like, when people come in the house, she brings the tea, everything, they've got rule, me, it was the same, like, people coming, I'm bringing the tea. My sister, which was born in 93, when people come at home, she's just standing there. And my dad is like, bring the tea. She's like, why am I going to bring the tea? Like, music. And my mom, she's like, hey, I'm going to slap in your mouth. Oh, slap me. And she says, slap me, I'm going to call the police. And she was 13 years old.
You see, because that's the understanding. It's not this 14-year-old child, or I don't know how old she is. She's not nobody have.
She's a big woman now.
Nobody have taught her like be a feminist. But sometimes within you just don't see certain things right, because it's like, why? It's not fair. I've seen children in Cameroonian family. The child say, "Why is not fair? Why isn't he do?" Even with my own children. You just what you told Petronella, if she has you ask her if she has a child, because you have to be the one to break that cycle, because what you leave, you end up repeating it without even realizing it. And I have 2 girls and a boy, and my girls would, what is not fair? Why isn't he doing? Why don't you make him do it? Why don't you always, because it's like, it's something we tend if
No,
we
because
have
it's a
experienced
circle.
it.
You see, like, yeah, completely. Because you see, my mom, like, what she done it. I mean, like, I'm born in 81, yeah. Like, I follow what my mom done it, but without my mom saying to me, do it. My mom never said to me, do this one, this one.
But
I love it
you
to do it.
know,
I love it to do it. I carry on doing. My sister was like, yeah, why are you cooking, like food for, your brother? Why is it don't cook it? Why is it don't wash up? Why no no no?
exactly,
My
because
mom, my mom
yes,
never imposed something. She's like, yeah, you do whatever what you want to do. But like,
because
the respect is the most important thing.
okay, and then Petronella, when you're talking, I'm
Mm,
just here, just feeling every word that you're saying. I
mm,
experienced that
mm,
firsthand, even
mm,
in this society.
mm.
Being, I'm the president of a Bamileke association. That
Yeah.
association has never had a woman president. It has a vice president as a woman,
I
but
hope you are.
even when they have a vice president as a woman, that woman doesn't, is it's just formality. And all of a sudden, I'm a
Mm.
woman that everybody was cheering for and all
Mashallah,
welcoming, but
bless you.
I
Mm,
come and I'm an outspoken person, and that I'm breaking all the expectation of a
mm.
woman that is in their mindset. So all of a sudden, overnight,
But
it's like,
nobody should
no,
expect something from you. Like people
like I'm
should
a
just.
no-brainer. And like, why are you changing this? I'm not changing anything. I'm following, we have a constitution. What is
Mm,
supposed to be done? The other person did apply the
mm,
rule. Nobody
mm.
complained. But when I
Yeah.
apply the rule, everybody is in uproar and saying, no, you want to change everything. You don't have the right. And it's very, for somebody who does not understand. When I
Mm.
started mentioning it, they're like, no, it's not because you're a woman. I say, if you have not been in the position of the oppressed, you cannot
You
understand what I'm
cannot say.
talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Because I specifically put myself in a position where I have to learn all this. Because when sometimes you're a
Oh, you have
victim,
to be
you
against
don't
people which
you
one like
don't
just want
even
you.
know you're a victim until somebody educates you that that's victimization. Why is that? You're doing what has been done. It's been raining every day, let's say at 7 o'clock. And when
Mm,
you're in charge, when somebody else is in charge, but the minute that you're in charge, the rain
mm,
come at 7 o'clock, they say you did something. When there's nothing that you did, and then you start asking yourself, and this is how I started understanding, because I went into race, what the whole thing about the what is that they're
You know,
talking about,
what is
critical
it?
race
Yeah,
theory. When
yeah.
you
But
ask
you know what
yourself,
is? Yeah.
when
Mm-hmm,
you're somewhere and something
mm-hmm,
is happening and you cannot explain it,
Right.
and there's no logical explanation for what is
mm.
happening, what I
Right.
was taught is like, you
You know,
have to start asking yourself a few questions. Okay,
but
did I do anything wrong? Did I break any
mm,
rule? No,
mm,
no, no. Okay,
mm,
why me? And you look
mm,
at yourself, compare yourself to other people. Is it
mm,
happening only to me? Is it
mm,
happening to other people? And then you want to isolate and end
mm,
up saying that you are a woman,
mm.
everybody else, and that's how you come across. You say, oh, this is what they're talking about, gender equality or race equality or whatever it
Right,
is,
but it's not
equality it
just
is.
rice. You see,
Right,
like
right. And Mama
women.
Gasam, I just want to throw this out there that we're almost in the last 20 or so minutes for our
Okay, can I
time
just
limit.
say one something quickly? Like when you're saying about like gender awareness, then my son is autistic, yeah, and here in London, like autistic people are not like neurotypical people, and then they have to follow something. And when they say why this one, say yeah, you are not normal. Why are you asking this one? It's the same thing basically. Like woman, gender, or everything is the same thing basically.
Thank you for that. And so as we transition into these last few minutes of the discussion, I just want to let Brother Monkam, his hand has been up, and our sister Felicite, her hand has also been up, allow you to ask your questions or make your comments. And then I want to go into final thoughts we'll start the final thoughts with our brother Monte, and the last voice that we'll hear tonight to make her final argument will be our Queen Petronella. So, brother Moncam, you can ask your question. Sister Felicite, you. Then brother Monte and Sister Petronella, you can start thinking about your final arguments, and we'll close the evening with you. So please.
All right, family, how you doing, guys?
Thank you.
Hi, family. How's everyone? So again, I just love the whole thing. I had actually a lot of questions, but I'm just gonna go for the shortest one. When I'm just gonna go back to what Sister Momi said about knowing a man role and a woman role. So when we say that, we have to be very, very careful, because as a man, if you're very stubborn and then you just want to do your role, the impact of that can be on your children, on your relationship and everything. So I think that on my personal experience, if I have to go with what sisters say, I'll probably teach a bit on the culture. Because when my kid was younger, I was their father, I was their mother. Their mom was still there. But the thing is that I wanted to do that because I wanted to bond with my children. So I had to do things that maybe my dad wouldn't do, my brother wouldn't do, my friend wouldn't do, because when I used to have my friend come in the house, when they see me taking my kid, changing their nappy, cooking food for them, they used to say, Vince, why are you doing that for? That's what we have to do that. And then I learned, I got 4 kids. I don't look at them like my kid. They're my friends, because from when they was younger, when I started doing that with them and I started bonding with them, doing so many things with them. So I kind of like bond with them. And then I hope that I wish that maybe I was able to do the same thing with my dad when he was alive, because it wasn't that my dad wasn't open, but because we had the mindset from what we used to see from other people. You cannot approach your dad. You cannot play with your dad. You cannot talk to your dad like that. Your dad have to be coming to you to speak to you. So we had that mindset. We grew with that mindset, and then we didn't actually have a lot of communication with our parents. And I feel that we have to be very, very careful, very mindful when we say that, okay, that is a man's job, that's a woman's job. There's certain thing that we do as a man because we wanted to bond. 2 weeks ago, I went to a cousin of mine in London over here. I mean, he just had a baby, and he had another 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is there running with the nappy. The nappy is completely soaking. The wife went out to get something, and then I was like, "You're not gonna change the nappy." He said that, "Oh no, she's gonna come back. She's gonna do that when she come back." I mean, when you look at the impact, that kid, the mom may be out for maybe about so many hours. The longer the nappy stay there, the kid gonna have bruise everywhere. So as a man, if you say that, that's a woman's job. That kid gonna be suffering there. And then again, I took the kid and I said, okay, put the kid in bed, put the thing there, change the kid. He didn't know how to do it. And I was like, how come you got a 3-year-old? You got another young one. You don't know how to do them things. I train an nappy there. I show you how to do that. So we need to be very mindful when we split role and then say that that's your role and then that's your role. You may have children in the house. The mom is going to the funeral maybe for a week, and dad doesn't know how to cook. So how are they going to survive? So we need to kind of like balance the role, and that's all I have to add anyway. That's it.
Thank you for that, brother Moncam. Sister Felicite, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Justin. Okay, I wanted to share something to add about what Sister Petronella said. Like in the West region, in the Bamileke region, before most of the villages stopped producing coffee, women and children in a polygamy family used to work in a farm, clearing, cultivate, and doing everything, even coming home with the products, working on it. And the man is the one who will be selling the coffee, because women have no ability to go and sell it. Man will go and sell, and you are not even, you don't have the right to ask how much was the business. He will keep the money, and perhaps for the one who is very kind, he can give some to buy oil for the food, or another will just go and enjoy with others' wives, and women are not going to complain. Secondly, in our economy, because there are a lot of things that women are doing that everybody here mentioned it. Women are cooking, taking care of the family, cleaning, flashing water, but their work is not captured in the economy.
Mm.
Yeah, men are the only one who are bringing into the family. What we are doing as women is not captured into the economy, which for me is not normal, because we are doing a lot. For those who pay a little bit attention on the organ genesis, in the organ genesis, the first organ that developed for women is their brain, and for the man is the sex. So women are really intelligent, but we grown up by hearing that we are not good enough. We are just good to put to bed, to take care of the family and this and that. And most of women in some point lost their self-esteem. That's why today they are talking more about women empowerment, because women need to be empowered. Women need to know that they are capable of many things. We are not talking about being a man. No, we just talk about equal opportunity, equal treatment, because for us, gender is a human right. I used to tell people that being nice, being kind has no sex. Because being kind is a normal, like no, everybody should be just kind. Oftenly, like when you are in Yaoundé, sometimes you are walking in the street, you see some man just be touching your buttocks, or like we are always harassing, and you cannot you cannot complain to anybody. It's normal. Men can do that to women. So what we are talking about is just being kind, like do what, and that's what brother Monkam was saying. Like, it's not just about duty or roles or this. If you are able, because today we have men who are good cookers, they are even better than women. If you are good in that and you love doing it, just do it. Because those saying that is my duty, it means that if I am not around, my children will just die, because my partner cannot make food for the family just because it's not his duty. No, I think we should find a way. And I really love what Sister Zeneba said about breaking the cycle. We need today, because the education that we give to our children will help them to respect women, to interact well with women, and to bring that balance. And I really love this, because I think
Darling, another thing, yeah. You see, like at some point, I don't remember who he was, but like he was talking about like like men can marry, like I don't know how many women, all of these things, yeah. Like how like like rich, European people like judge us and everything. And the thing is like in America, I saw in the TV, he was one man. He married like 5 or 6 women. They live all together like in a small town. And he's going from one house to another one. He's got like I don't know how many kids. And for them, it's okay. But when it's like from African people, whatever, they judge us. So like not just about like equality woman wife, woman man, but like about just our like culture. Like also this one, we have to break down this one, like not accepting the fact that European can judge like African culture in meantime, then them they can do it and it's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we should just be kind, with everyone. Yes, being kind does not have sex. Either you're a man or a woman, you should be kind and do what you can do to improve the life of another person. We should stop talking about duties and these. Women should do this, men should should do this. And when we talk about feminism, feminism does not mean, because, and this is another part of the education that we receive, that for sometimes we will see a lot of men dying because of a lot of pressure. Being a man does not mean that you cannot cry, because I remember my mother and even the aunties around me used to tell my brothers that a man does not cry. It's a feeling. If you are hurt, you should cry. It's a feeling. And that's why some men will not open
I mean, I love a man
out.
who
Yeah,
cries. I love a man
they
who
are
cries
suffering,
because
but they
it's
cannot open
sensitive.
out because a man does not cry.
It's very
Yeah,
lovely when a man you cry because he's sensitive. That means that he opening his heart, isn't it?
it's an emotion, and we cannot hide that. If you feel hurt, you should cry. It's really important. And as a man also, you should understand that you can be in a difficult situation and you have a partner that is working, which is normal. You need to support that, because how we were, the way we were educated is that as a woman, if I have nothing and I met a man who has money, that's fine. I will stay in that relationship without any problem. But the invest is difficult. But men should also understand that in a difficult situation, a woman can support a man. So that's where I'll end my words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You learned me so much today.
Thank you, Sister Felicite, for that. And thank you to everyone who contributed to the conversation tonight. Unfortunately, we're almost running out of time. If you would like to see a part 2 of this, please just drop a yes in the comments, and we can run this back next Sunday and do a part 2, because a lot of people, want to say a lot of different things on this topic. But however, Brother Boris, let me get you in, and then after that, we're gonna go into the final arguments, beginning with our brother Monte, and then the last speaking voice we'll hear will be our sister Queen Petronella, who's gonna close us out. So, Brother Boris, please proceed.
Thank you so much for the session. It was really good. I just wanted to say I will be up for a part 2 of it. I really like the different interventions. My grandma, just as a really maybe an anecdotal kind of note. My grandma was, I think she was maybe what people might call feminist nowadays, in her own definition. She really respect all the traditions. She got married she was in a polygamic family with my grandpa. But every time my grandpa would do something that was wrong, she would never fear anyone. She would just go to my grandpa and say, what you did wasn't good. And that was her own way to kind of make a point. And some people will be annoyed. Sometimes my grandpa will be annoyed with that, but he was really strong, and she will always fight for sort of our right, for our right in the couple, and also for our children. And every time my grandpa did something wrong, she would tell him, that's not good. So sometimes we might just look at the society and think it's patriarchal, the man dominate and so on. But if you look closer, we see that in many families, I mean the Bamileke families that I know more of, the woman might be more outspoken than what we think. Maybe she will be on the surface, people will think, oh, okay, she's very humble, she's low-key, but in the background she might be
Sorry, what does mean humble?
What is
Humble.
Humble.
What's that mean?
Humble.
Yeah. Humble meaning, I mean, you know humble in French, right?
En français.
Humble.
C'est humble. Humilité. Humble.
Okay.
Humilité.
Okay.
Humility meaning
Okay.
like.
Okay, merci.
she might appear to be humble. I mean, she's humble in front of everyone and even in her couple. But I mean, sometimes she might just open up. She will open up and speak out if there's the need to. So feminism is not only something visible, it's something sometimes that we might not see, and we need to talk to the person to know, have a bit of an understanding of what is behind the couple or the actions people the things people go through. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say as a my own point.
Thank you, Brother Boris.
Thank you. Yes, Brother Boris. Thank you tremendously for that input. It's important and very valued that you said that. So the time has arrived.
Excuse me, just for the second thing which one you're saying maybe it's gonna happen. Can you discuss about what is exactly feminism? Is it something just come out because now what Justin say, his grandma, she was just someone kind on having his head in her shoulder on caring about her family without being loud. Now what we're seeing on the TV is feminism is yeah, you have to go out showing your boots and say, yeah, I'm feminist, I'm equal to the man, whatever. What is it exactly is it something just come out now, or is it something real?
And that's a great question and a great point. Brother Boris, if you wanna, you can hop on and you can answer that.
I really try not to be too long because we're already closing the session. But I would say, yeah, everyone can have his own definition of feminism. But from what I can understand, feminism is about defending women's rights. And since, I mean, same as all political, it's very political nowadays. And you have many feminist movements that might be a little bit extreme to my own taste. And as you said, we have the femen who will go on the street and show their boobs to protest against many things. But we have also more modest feminist movements that would just kind of advocate for women for voting rights for women. And we have it in Cameroon and in most countries nowadays. But maybe in some countries, the woman cannot vote, or in some places, the woman, if there's a divorce, the woman get nothing or something like that. And maybe
but we never say about vote than is feminist.
Feminism, let me just add to it. Feminism is a movement created by a group of women who came up with the idea of liberating women from those laws that were not favorable to women. Like I started by saying the employment sector, the agricultural sector, and the educational sector. So it's some sort of a movement to liberate women from those laws that are unfavorable to women.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
And very briefly, and yes, that's the ideal definition. But what I think Brother Boris say, the movement have taken a very political direction at times, because when you see women, for example, in Cameroon, I've never been in Cameroon during the Women's Day, International Women's Day. It was never, I left Cameroon so long ago. So the whole thing caught fire when I was already gone, and I'm just hearing about it. When on March 8th, women are really going belligerent, literally on the street, in bars, and just going really out of hand is deplorable, because I saw videos and I was just appalled by what I was saying. And I say, if this is a Women's Day and women are doing this, they really missed the train of women liberation, because this is not about losing who you are, your identity, your respect, but the feminist sometimes is a double-edged sword. because it's there. It was created to promote women's rights. But at the same time, sometimes it would be used to oppress a woman. When a woman wants to speak out, they say, oh, you're a feminist. And when they label you in some setting as a feminist, that means you're hostile, you're angry woman, and even the basic thing that you're entitled to, you don't get it, because they would just label you as feminist, as if being feminist is an insult. It becomes like an insult.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, Mama, because like, when Justin say about like, I don't know, I think it's Justin saying about like, like right to vote on everything. But the thing is, at the time when people had to vote, when women had to vote, they never been like, like doing like shame of themselves like they're doing now and saying like, yeah, we are feminists. At that time, they're showing like, yeah, we are there, we can speak, we can do something, but in a like proper manner. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
They are, feminists. But now the feminist word coming out, and like he's just like destroying women.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's taking a different aspect. Yes.
Yeah, that's
I think-
why I want to let me just say something. That's why today in international relations we say there's a debate that has been going on for a very long time, that some people are asking now in the international relations community, like, do feminists still have a lot of work to be done? And me, I'm in the opinion that yes, there's a lot of work to be done, especially when it comes to the African context, because the whole issue of feminism it's now very broad, that people don't understand anything. And talk less of like Mamanga Sam has said, that women drink in the bars and show their nakedness and their boobs. Yes, because they don't understand anything. Those, if you look into the context of women, the context of women's day, most Cameroonian women don't even know the team. If you ask them, they don't know anything. They're just excited to sew the cloth with the beautiful face of the first lady and drink and take the cabas up and do crazy things. If you ask Cameroonian women, madam, we are going to the field, what is the theme of this day? Nobody knows anything. They just know today's International Women's Day. I need to drink, I need to get drunk, I need to eat fish, I need to live a crazy life.
But my dear,
it's like
from the top, that failure has been in the leadership of the country. When we have the most prominent person, excuse me from saying this, I know I'm outside, I can say what I want to say, because those of us, our sisters who are within in the country cannot say it. But when you have a person of a first position, like a first lady, who has no bone, no nothing to present as a role model, of course, she came and popularized the Women's Day just as a money making for her to have a face on the fabric. But there's no essence. The education has to be in school, then in the homes. This has to be in the curriculum as part of, this is what it's all about. Women's Day is for everybody to reflect on the importance, like Brother Monkam said. I mean, woman is the mother of humanity. Your role is you are there. You are God's creation. Men cannot be anything without a woman. The world cannot function without a woman. This is what we need to teach. This is what, as us being, is like we're the way shower. I don't know how this gonna catch fire, because when you go in our society in Cameroon and you want to speak up, especially as a woman, your sister are the one who's gonna tell on you. They're gonna point the finger, because they're gonna look at you as you're an outcast. You're rocking the boat. You're rocking the patriarchal boat. We have to teach, educate the society what women, the 8th of March, supposed to be. It's not a commercialized thing. This is something to reflect and really to bring it home, to teach our children and teach our mothers. And this woman who get up in the morning on the 8th of March and don't feed their children, and they're out there, I mean, it's deplorable. So yes, we have the responsibility to teach. We have the responsibility to make the feminists, to say, when we're talking about feminists, we're really talking about the right of women, and not talk about all the craziness that
maybe
politically
redefine, maybe
brought
try
into
to
the picture.
redefine, maybe try to
That's
redefine the
why.
word feminist.
Yeah. That's why each time I talk about feminism, I go to the liberal feminism, because if you go to the idea of the liberal feminists, they have been the one talking about the liberation of bad cultural
I
practices,
don't know, liberal
limiting
or
women.
not liberal, but it's just like feminist now. It's just like rubbish. I mean, like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you go to the origin of the feminists, like liberal feminists, they have from the beginning they've always been on track. But today, a lot of ideas have come in, and people have forgotten about the root of the feminist movement. So they're taking different dimensions based on individual motives. But if you go to the origins
I have
of
a question before we close out. Before somebody had mentioned in the forum, I think couple weeks ago, when we had that debate that led to people being removed. Somebody mentioned that she's doing a dissertation on feminism or gender inequality. Who was that?
Yeah, me.
You who?
Petronella.
Petronella. Okay, I'll hit you up. Okay. Thank you. You made, because I was gonna go back to the messages, and you all know there's a lot of activity in the forum, so I didn't start a message right away, but I said I was gonna get back to it. There's so many messages. Okay, thank you.
You are okay about changing gender or everything, or what is it?
No, gender equality in Cameroon.
Gender equality. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Gender equality.
Are you okay with that?
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
She's writing about it, and she's very passionate. I need to talk to her.
She's not changing her gender. You probably get it wrong.
What a markup! Come on. Petronella, are you in you say you're in Yaoundé?
I'm in Spain.
Oh, you're in Spain. Oh, because I was gonna say
wow.
I'm gonna try to meet you when I come there. Oh, you're in Spain. Oh,
can
man.
Can you send me a ticket?
Huh?
Sorry, Petronella.
No, that was
I would
funny.
love to meet you, because you're really my kind of gal, Cameroonian gal. You know, we need to speak up. I really love your passion.
What about me then?
But our organization is based in Yaoundé. If you get to Yaoundé, I can give you the address of my colleague there. She was here before. I think she has a busy schedule tomorrow, so she had to leave before time. You could get to her, then you know more about the organization.
Oh, okay, but you're
Mama, what about me then?
Of course. I mean, I already sent you my
no,
number.
You go with me and just leave me on the side. Like,
no, I already sent you my number.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm upset now.
No, but I already, because I'm talking with you in the background.
No, it's too
check
late.
the chat. I already sent you my number.
No, I'm upset. Yeah, but doesn't matter.
Okay, so I think we had enough votes that we're gonna do part 2 of this discussion next Sunday. So please come back next Sunday. But before we close, I do want to let Brother Monte give his final thoughts, his final argument on the topic of gender inequality.
We don't need to listen to him. It's finished.
And then after he concludes, we want to let Sister Petronella give her final thoughts, her final argument. She'll be the last speaking voice that we hear on this tonight. So Brother Monte, if you are there, the floor is yours. You're muted.
I told you it's finished. We don't need to talk with him.
I've been here listening very, very quietly, to all that other people had to say. And then maybe my I won't say final word, because I have a lot of word to say in my whole life, but this will not be the last. But what I say here is pictures speak louder. I'm gonna share something else again. I think pictures speak way more than anything else. This time is going to be a picture that brings us to our present day, so we can all look at it and make sense of what it is. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So what you see on my screen, on the left side, you have a white woman, dressed as she's, and you saw what I wrote over there, right?
Wow, it's so
Western,
nice.
the Western word, birthplace of feminism. That's an okay style of women society. This is the standard. This is what they put on TV. This is what they put on commercial. This is what they breastfeed your children. Stand of woman. And this is the same place where that so-called feminism started. And this is how they think. Now, I keep hearing about women rights. Human rights. Okay. Now, before we even talk about human rights, we need to ask ourselves, who set the standard of human rights? Exactly. Who are they? When they set the standard of human rights, who they put at the table to set those so-called human rights? The last time I checked, it comes from a so-called organization called the UN, United Nations.
Human what? Can you write it down, please?
United Nations. United Nations, yeah.
Nations Unies. Les Nations Unies.
Nations Unies. Okay, merci.
Yes.
Yeah. So the same people who so-called keep calling about human rights, they are the same people that commit the most atrocity things in this planet. They are the same people who give okay to NATO to go and bombard countries like Libya, Afghanistan, and all those countries. Those are the same people who wrote those so-called human rights that we saw holding like a Bible today. Now, when it comes to women, we talk about feminism. I'm going to ask all those feminist women, are they ever researched on the abuse that the men are having in the household? Have they ever researched on that? Because it looks like, according to them, the abuse is only on them. So there is no case where women abuse men.
No, because feminism is not biased. Feminism is not biased. Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, Brother Chakunte. Feminism is not biased. Anything that people say out of the idea of feminism, it's becoming a biased. What you're trying to point out is some sort of bias something. Anyone who does something that is not that has not been in the beginning of the feminist movement, it means the person is going out of the feminist objectives due to that personal reason.
Who created feminism? Who created and when was it created? By who?
I can trace you back to the histories of the 60s and the 70s. That's all I can say.
No, he wasn't in the 15-17, because the thing is, like, when they had, like, the woman, like, having, like, to vote everything, nobody at that time say woman, like, woman, feminism, whatever. You say just woman right. Yeah, at that time, when women had to right to vote.
So,
no.
Can I continue?
Yes.
Yeah, continue.
Yes.
Okay.
If we do our research, we're gonna understand the reality of this. It was not created in Africa. It's not an African concept. That's what I want to point out. It's a European concept that was made for white women, especially in America. Okay, you can say no. That's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, you see, like, listen,
most African countries are members of the United Nations. If we're addressing an issue of human rights, we need to talk about an issue of human rights. When you say feminism is a European concept, it means Africa is not part of the world, and most African countries are part of the United Nations. So if there's something that United Nations has created, it means all United Nations member states must get involved in the thing. So
just as it is with every other rule.
And boiled down
discrimination,
to women power.
Discrimination based on race
Thank you, Queens.
Discrimination
Thank
based
you.
on race is no
Thank you.
different to
Thank you,
discrimination
Queens.
based on gender.
in the house.
Yes.
Queen
Exactly.
Petronella and Queen and Mama Victim. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you both. We are powerful queens. I just want to say that you're powerful,
I can't wait
right?
for the part two. I
To
can't
admit
wait.
you're powerful, but I just want to say that if we can just let Brother Monte just finish. If we let him finish and then
Brother
afterwards,
Monte, we're gonna bob
he's
your
gonna close
head
us
on
out.
the ladder now.
I just want to say one thing, yeah. I just want to say one thing.
I beg.
I just
Please,
want to
just
say one
let him
thing. Yeah,
finish.
I'm gonna
I
let him
beg.
finish, but it's just one thing, yeah. What it was about like women to right to vote, okay? At that time, to say woman right, not feminist, okay? So feminist is something we should come about like 20th century or something like this one, okay? So it's nothing to do about like the woman right like to do something or allowed to do something. At the end, like it's all of the the planet. It's not just European people. Okay, maybe like African people seeing like woman like showing their boots, they're gonna do it as well. But like it's like universal. It's not just like like European.
Okay.
I think
Thank
all of
you.
the girls are okay with me.
Thank you. And I also
Thank
want to
you.
say we shouldn't be distracted by the wording. I was talking about my grandma. I think my grandma was fighting for women's right in her family, but she was not part of an official movement. But if we want to know, if we read at the definition of feminism, you will see the original definition is of movement to fight for women's rights, right? So
Normally, yeah, the definition,
even
definition is this one, but the thing
Yeah.
is that this one.
I just finished
Can
quickly.
you
I just want to say
okay, Boris, can you check it when this definition has been put it in the dictionary?
yeah, I can do that. But I wanted just to make sure we shouldn't be distracted by the wording or by the word itself or by the maybe.
Yeah, but that's what the
extreme-
media show us. That's the media what they show us.
Yeah, and also if there are extreme version of the movement, we shouldn't be. It shouldn't put us away from the topic. The topic of is just we want the society think or the women think they should be respected for what they are, and this is something that we have in all countries, in all cultures, in all civilization, and not only now, but since the beginning of our human race or whatever. So.
I'm completely
And our
agree with
women
you.
our women have been always fighting for their rights, even though they did that in their own way. But even in our African societies, women have been always fighting. You had even women who managed to be leading nations, being queen and being in the army and stuff like that. It's not something that was always for granted. They were fighting for that, and our women are still fighting even now. And some women are not doing it the right way. They will be maybe naked doing things on the street that might be a little bit strange, but other women will do that in the right way. And then I think we should honor those ladies because
completely,
maybe.
but it's one word. Like when you say fighting, there's not necessarily fighting because some women from the past they didn't fight. They just teach our them kids to to do the thing in the right way, and then them kid like teach them kid like to grow in the same way. But at some part in the life, like something I don't know happened, and I don't know, like society just become like crazy. But all of the women in the past didn't have to fight. They just teach the kids.
Yeah, I'm also going to say that why people see feminism as a threat, the word itself as a threat, is because the media, I can say it's one of the negative effects of the media in the 21st century. Because the media always shows the bad things over the good things. The media will never show you the good things. All the bad things, and that's what the media will show you. Let's take in the case of wars in Africa. The media has painted Africa to be deplorable, to be Africans are beggars. Africans are nothing good can come out of Africa. They will never show you the good part of Africa or Middle East or anywhere. Just the feminism. The naked women. Feminism, the media will never show you a good model European woman. Feminism will never show you a good African woman. They will never show the media will never show us those parts. They always take us the bad parts. To the European woman who smokes, the European woman who wears sexy things, the European woman who walks naked with a nipple. And since most of our African sisters are not educated,
in meantime, I'm gonna say to you,
please, one speaker at a time, please. Go Pano, go Pano.
In meantime, you know why European people do this one? Because African people allow them. We allow them.
Because they lack information. They lack information and education.
No, because we are secret. We are like letting them, like, sell us the thing, or like become like crazy about like, oh yeah, we should like
it goes back to the fact that because we lack basic education and basic understanding, they suppress us with those things. So we become
instead of like being like looking like Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, you become inferior because you have never. African woman is not outspoken. So when you become outspoken, they tell me they give you a name, feminism, bad woman.
No, it's not about outspoken. It's not about outspoken. Woman, yeah, okay. You've got TV, you've got computer, everything, yeah. Instead of looking your computer, looking like about like something which you can learn on like advance in your life. Instead of this one, you're looking about like like movie with like girl Nana. I wish I can be like her. I wish Nana on like Twitter, blah blah blah. Oh, this one. Then we become like like in the société de consommation. I don't know how you say in English. Consummation society, or I don't know how you say. Then we become then we become like engrainé en fait, like in the circle, and then we become like like stupid, like dumb. And we just have to open our eyes. It's the same like we have to like change like the way how like our kids have to like our son have to like behave about girl. Then we have to also like around like European people. Because now, like, it's just like, I mean, like, for example, like Chad, Libya, all of these things, we sell all of our petrol, all of our gold, everything to European people. And now, what do? They're stepping in our head. They take all of our, énergie, matière première. Je sais pas comment on dit matière première.
Oh my goodness.
So you understand me? Then at the end, like we just been like like used. Then at some point we have to say yes, stop.
Thank you for that, sister. Please briefly.
I'm gonna stop my thing because thank you very much for tonight. And I'm gonna stop talking and bye bye everybody.
Okay, so
I'm gonna put mute and I'm just gonna listen.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. He's just have enough of me. Yeah, thank you.
No, we're coming up on 3 hours, and we're gonna do part 2. And so I just want to let the two presenters, who is Sister Petronella and our brother Monte, just get their final thoughts in, and then we're gonna pause it into part 2 to next weekend. So please, if you can just, Brother Monte, continue with your final thoughts for tonight, and then we're gonna let our Queen Petronella give her final thoughts, and we're gonna close the session until next Sunday. So please.
Yes, thank you. I intentionally put this picture here for us to see, and just for us to understand two things. That we're not gonna sit here and pretend that our society in Africa are perfect. No European can pretend that the society is perfect. No Chinese or Asian society can pretend that the society is perfect. All I'm trying to show here is here's the standard of woman in a country in which, or in a world, or in a system in which feminism was born. Here's the standard of woman that they put on TV, media, all that good stuff. That's the standard. She is, quote unquote, civilized. But on the left, our African queens right there that are dressed decently like this. Now, she must be, no, she cannot be the standard. She's not civilized. She's the type to put on a commercial. She's not the type to incite people to look at a product. but yet on the left side, that's the type. Now, I want us to understand the psyche of the people who create these things that they give to us. And this goes beyond feminism. That's what I'm trying to bring you guys. It goes beyond feminism. It even goes with spirituality. It goes with constitution. This is me why personally I say, as long as all African countries have the constitution written in a European way or in a European kind of approach, we are never going to find our balance that we had before. You don't never feed a lion with herbs. You don't feed a zebra with meat. You feed a lion with meat, a zebra with herbs. So when our ancestor Sundiata Keita in the 12th century wrote the first constitution of the world, it's called the Constitution of Kurunkafaga. You can find it in Mali today, in a town called Sankore. Okay, when he wrote it in the 12th century back then, it was savage in Europe. They were all savages. He wrote the Constitution, 244 pages. I asked you to go and look for that document, and you're gonna see what we write when we talk about things among each other, when we solve our problem among each other without being influenced by any outside forces. Go and read that Constitution. You're going to ask the question why every single country in Africa is not using that Constitution as their base document. Okay, but colonization has done what it does now in Cameroon, for instance. Our Constitution, our law is a copycat from the French law. What? When there is a problem about witchcraft in Cameroon, do you think a law from the Western one can solve a witchcraft problem? I'm going to stop there. Coming back to feminism. See, I am not dismissing the fact that women have facing problems today in Africa, just like all over the world. I'm not dismissing that. What I'm telling you is that the goes both ways. So many men are also facing a lot of abuse. Did you know that some men cannot get married? They cannot get married to the woman that they love because I mean, woman or the woman is asking him so much money for the bride. And the man is depressed, he can even kill himself because he doesn't have the money to go and pay for her. And usually not because the parent asks, because she asks, because she wants you to give it to the parent. How about the abuse too? So what I'm saying is, I'm urging my sister to look at it in a much more African way. In a much more, how can I put this? I put this like this. I'm going back to this picture. You look at the women on the right, the way they dress, for instance, right? Okay, those kind of garments, they're not dressed like that just because of fashion. There is a whole concept beyond that dress. Maybe that's what you guys are missing. All of the things that we do, it's not just physical. It's a lot of things that you see. Because the men knew that, and even you know that there are some physical attributes that you may have in certain cases, right? It might bring some kind of like idea elsewhere. Therefore, in order for you to, I won't even use the word protect, but in order for you to keep everything where it needs to be, it's going to be seen as a help. Not just that, it's more big like that because they were writing so many things on what, or drawing so many things on what you were wearing, because that was also a way of teaching, whether it's history or whether it's spirituality or all that good stuff. So that's the concept behind, that's the paradigm beyond it. So, but now, if there is a problem in that paradigm, why can we look at the solution in that paradigm? Some of them want to say, oh, they don't want to listen. It depends on the way you approach it with them. I'm going to lead by saying this. Recently I went to a kingdom somewhere in the West region. It wasn't where I'm coming from. It was a kingdom. So when I got there, nobody was waiting for me. Nobody was waiting for me. And when I arrived, obviously in the Bamileke kingdom, the door is always open for everybody. So now, as soon as I arrived at the door, some notables saw me. They knew I was a stranger, and they asked me, what did I come to do? Who I was looking for? I said, no, I came to greet the king, wanted to see him. Say, well, he's busy now, but I mean, if you want to wait, we can always tell him and see if he can receive you. So, okay, no, I have, okay, I'm going to have all these, I mean, you know, I'm not here to rush. Obviously, I didn't have any appointment with him. So what I was waiting, listen to me, what I was waiting, there were two women came to me. They were in a palace. I don't know who they were. So they offered me first, they offered me water. And then after that, offer for food. Okay. So I was like, I'm very nice, you know, you sure nobody never saw you. They offered me that. And then now I was not thirsty. I was not hungry. I made a mistake to say, no, I'm good. I missaid it again. I made a mistake to say, no, I'm good. That no, I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry. I made a big mistake. Because myself, I'm learning too. I'm learning in tradition, I'm learning everything. There are certain things because we have been so influenced by the Western way. When I did that, the notable who received me, he asked me to go, he saw it. When I say no to this woman, they went away with the water and the food. He came to me, he asked me, do you know what you just did? I said, what? He said, no. Even if you are not hungry, even if you're not thirsty, take it, drink a little bit. You say, thank you, give it to them. That food they gave you, take it, you give it to them. I was like, whoa, okay. I say, elder, why? He said, because the kindness, the unconditional kindness that they had for you as a stranger, make it work because they want to reward something from you, which is good energy. So it's like by them being kind to you, to seek for that good energy from you, you turn them down. And it takes literally nothing for them to give it back to them by accepting what they gave you. Unless, he said, unless you doubt that they wanted to do something bad to you. And I say, no, I don't have no doubt. He said, well, next time, don't say no. I'm gonna leave it there. For you guys to understand that it depends on the society, it depends on the paradigm. We can't take somebody else's view on society to impose that in our society. Do we have problem? Again, I say yes, and the problem are both ways, and we have different problems. We can talk about many problems that our society have today. There are so many, it's not just a woman being put down. We can go on, even on the children. So, but let's look at it in an African way, inside, and solve it right there, without not accepting no other standard from coming from any elsewhere. That's all I'm saying. And you will see how we will all happy. Thank you. Unmute yourself, Justin.
Yes, brother. I said go Pano, and I was talking to Queen Petronella and telling her the time has arrived to give your final thoughts just for this evening. Like I said, we're gonna do part 2 next Sunday, but you can leave us with your final thoughts for the evening, and then we're gonna close out the session. Thank you for everyone. Thank you everyone as well for tuning in and adding to the conversation. So Queen, it's all on you.
Thank you for the opportunity again once more. Because of time, I don't want to talk. Don't want to talk much, so I'm just gonna talk just the main points. I just want people to understand that gender inequality is very much alive in our Cameroonian society, and we, as the women that are already educated, let me just say, we as part of the elite women of Cameroon, we have the responsibility to be the lamplight, to lead others, to tell people, to educate people in our community, that the things that they understand that maybe because of stigmatization or because of fear of what people will say, people will do, people will think, it's time for us to to have a rethink of those things that have been limiting us. As human beings, we have the right to feel, to do what we want to do, provided it doesn't hurt another person's feeling. Because when we say feel free or you have the freedom to do something, some people can just go wild because of giving them the freedom to. No. Provided you do something that you know it doesn't hurt your partner. If you're an African woman, as a Cameroonian woman, we know the society depends on us. We have a lot of responsibilities to put in place. We have our kids to take care of and our husbands. So if they say feel free, doesn't mean you should just go around drinking alcohol and exposing your nakedness. No, nobody has said that to anyone. Make your home, bring up your child the way you think, the best possible way, the good morals as an African mother. Let's learn to eradicate that gap between culture and human rights or whatsoever that we are struggling to amend today because of some little things that we are unable to understand. So the only thing I have to say is gender discrimination is real. And in order for us to help our sisters and brothers eradicate this thing, we need to include men into the struggle to eradicate gender discrimination, because the more both genders are educated, the more we all will enjoy the right of equality. Because when a man gets educated, at the same time a woman gets educated, we speak one language. But when a man gets educated and leaves a woman behind, or a woman gets educated and leaves a man behind, that's when we don't understand ourselves. People start thinking that gender discrimination is something that doesn't belong to the African context. No, it is. It has a role to play. So in my point of view, we all as human beings have the right to enjoy equality, freedom of equality. So
if I may jump very quickly, Petronella, can you give us a standard of a country practice that's kind of like good when it comes to gender equality to your work? Can you give us a standard that you guys follow? What's the standard for you? What country does it?
I'm not going to give an example of any country, because that is why it is a problem. And that is why, if you look at the system of the United Nations, they came up with a Sustainable Development Goal 5. They came up with 17 goals, and each of those goals highlighted the main issues that the world is suffering from, which means it's not a particular state, it's not something of a particular group of people, it is a universal something that has been observed. It went up to the USA, that is they are the leading example in the world power. You see, even in 2017 elections, where Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were going for contesting, one of her reasons why she never won was because of her female gender. So it's not something like it's a particular region, it's a particular case. It varies per region, per race, per continent. So it's left for us Africans, since it's very rampant within us, since it limits us a lot. We don't have that high self-esteem as a woman. African women, we are very intelligent, like Madame Gassam said. We are very intelligent. We have the ability. In fact, we are role models to the rest of the world, but we don't have self-esteem in us. We don't believe in us because our society has made us know that we are worthless. So we are creating a situation now where we want people to know that, no, we have a place. The fact that they've always known that I cannot do this. No, I have a place. I have a place in my community. You cannot subject me like that forever. Like I put an example of my grandmother who does things in those days, and up to today she's still saying she doesn't eat this because it's the role of our successor. Since her husband died, now she has transferred the love to the successor. When they give her anything, she takes there. No, she has the right to eat those things too. Yeah, it's normal for us. A woman does not eat gizzard. She gives it that. I don't argue, but something like a gossip pudding, she still says no. She doesn't have to eat stew. Stew is for her husband. She doesn't have to eat this. She doesn't have to do this. She built the house with her husband. Her husband this, her husband that. She doesn't allow us to rest. It's good. It's the way they were brought up, but it doesn't apply to that today context. I respect my husband as an African woman. I respect my husband. I give his respect. I have my role to play, and I'm doing my best to do the role. I don't want somebody to put I've been suffering for a very long time to liberate myself from this. Don't do this. You should do this. Don't do this. Don't talk like this. African woman doesn't talk like this. You're not supposed to do like this. It keeps limiting us, but we don't know. And in most cases, most women die of depression. There's a point you mentioned there about abuse. Yes, not only women get abused, men get abused as well. Like they said before, Madame Gassam said before with Zenobia, that they love it when men cry. It gets to a point where men need to cry. Yes, they cry. They are human beings. Because it's too much on them. A man provides for, African man provides for his family. He goes to work. He does everything. He does, while the woman is limited just to domestic chores. We want the situation where the African woman, just like the African man, works in the same place. Because it has been understood that when the African woman meets up the standard of an African man, it's gonna help improve our society, and it's gonna help lift up to a little bit to upgrade ourselves and our mentality and everything about our society. We're not gonna remain the Africa like in those days. We are not struggling to eliminate the culture of in those days. We are struggling to upgrade our culture. Most of those cultural things that our parents did before, it doesn't apply to 21st century. That is why today, even in the Western world, here, you see them struggling to do computer, upgrading themselves to all type of magic that we don't know where it's coming from. We need to upgrade our culture too. We're not just supposed to be there and just sit like that, do like this, do like this. It's my role as a woman to take care of my husband's family, take care of my husband, take care of my children. I need to get economic freedom to support my husband. I don't need to just sit because my husband goes to work, my husband goes to this, my husband do that, my husband did that. I just sit at home. Do you know a lot of women have died before because they were sick, they needed medical attention, but just because they need approval from the husband to go to the hospital, they stay at home and die.
Well, no, wait, hold on, please. These are very isolated cases. You see? No, because I won't let this sound like it's happening everywhere, whether in Cameroon or in Africa. Now, I'm sorry to hear about what your grandma experienced, right? But there's something just like the media does, right? When there is a problem in the north, when there's a problem in the northwest, for instance, or there's a problem in the north, right? Boko Haram does this. The media here in the US or in the UK make it seem like it's happening all over Cameroon. You know, it's like here.
It doesn't happen all over Cameroon. You're very right, but we look at the majority.
Yeah. She didn't say it happening everywhere. But the thing is that you need to be aware that, like, I'm in London, yeah? It happened in London, not like to every single man. I mean, in France, it happened as well. Like in Africa, it happened as well. But the thing is that every time, yeah, man, when he's coming, like, you know, I mean, like, woman gonna go for false pretext because she beat his.
Yeah, I guess, can you hear me? Yeah, I guess, you know, Brother Justin, yeah, this is definitely deserve a part 2. And then maybe we can bring more of our audience and stuff and understanding each other. So yeah, I'll let you all go ahead and do those. Yeah, I think at this point, we need to,
so what I'm just trying to say is like, women just like men should be allowed to get equal opportunities in the job site, because since they are the role model, they can help their husbands in financial situations and during hard times. So it's not like a woman needs to be like a man. No, we know our place, we know where we belong, but we just need that equality to work and to work together as partners in order to help our society grow. We need to upgrade our culture and everything. That's the point I was struggling to bring on. So I think it's okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Brother Johnson.
No problem, and thank you all. Thank you all. So I think this is a good point, a good place to leave it here. And we have a lot to still continue to talk about on this subject. So we're gonna leave that until next Sunday. We will do part 2. So with that, Brother Moncam, do you have anything else before we close the session?
No, I really don't want to hold people again. So I think we all good. The only thing I probably notice, and then I'll probably say, yeah, we need to upgrade our culture, because we raising children, and then we don't want them to be the way our ancestors used to be. Some of the part probably was adapt to the way they used to live, but we need to look at the way, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
That's another hot topic. That's another hot topic.
I'm not gonna take my daughter and say that, okay, you go.
You already know you are poking me right there.
No, I'm not gonna take my daughter and say that you go in the house there, and then that's gonna be your role, because some men gonna take that with advantage, and you need to speak about the context, because we raising kids outside Cameroon, and then what was over there is not the same thing over here. You're gonna say to the man that that's your job over there. She's gonna, So they're gonna take you on the wrong way. Let me tell you something. That was a long time ago. I went to a friend's house, and then we were sitting there playing Ludo. My ex-wife smoked at the time. They was smoking. They decided to smoke, and then she asked the friend, "Where can I put my cigarette? What's the ashtray?" He says that throw in the floor. She's gonna pick it. And I look at him and say, "Come on, So there's thing like that. We need to look into that, because obviously he's gonna say that, yeah, I'm the boss. She gonna do that. Certain things are not all right. If you got a young kid with you, and then she see that happening, and then she feel that it's right, she's gonna live with that. So we need to kind of look at the way we can adjust things, because we're raising young people so they can be good people to other people as well tomorrow. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that. So let's leave it there.
Okay, let's leave it
please,
there.
everyone, please come back. Please come back next Sunday, and please come back. I beg you. I beg you. So
I'll see everyone next Sunday. I'll see you, Zeneba. I'll see you next Sunday again.
No, I'm not gonna come back now, guys.
By the way, Sister Auntie got a new role in the chat group. Brother just forgot to actually announce that as well.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So I'll make a quick announcement as far as the ReConnection chat WhatsApp group. Brother Moncan wants me to let you know that we have a new moderator, who is our sister Avanti. She will be the only one with the administrative role, meaning she'll be the only one who can remove people from the group and also to accept people in the group. And so I just wanted to lay that out there. And yeah, with that being said, please come back next Sunday. We'll continue this conversation.
Guys, I don't know
if you lost your admin, because I'm gonna lose mine as well. So anyone who lost the admin, don't be surprised. I will be losing mine as well. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
Guys, can I say something?
No.
I'm not Cameroonese on anything, but I really enjoyed tonight, and thank you very much for all of your feedback on all of this conversation. It's been very lovely, and you've been very good people. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister, and please, you too, neighbor, you come back as well.
We're gonna find
you. No, I'm not gonna come back like it. No.
We're gonna find you a Chica husband. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Brother Marcos there anyway. Brother Marcos there.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Good night. Good night. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit.
Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.